You're watching CBC North.
The following is a live presentation of CBC Sports.
Stop. And we are going to Game 6.
There is no doubt about it, the ultimate Sabre has found a way to rattle the Washington Capitals. The Dominator does the trick, and suddenly the Capitals' lead is cut to 3-2. It's Game 6 at Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo, New York. Good evening, welcome to Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. I'm Ron McLean. What a 48 hours we've had in these Stanley Cup playoffs. First Dominic with the Houdini Act on Capitol Hill, and then last night with all those vultures circling over Reunion Arena, Dallas finds a way to score on either side of the final buzzer, and suddenly we have Game 6 tonight here and tomorrow night in Motown. Let's get to the issue at hand, the Capitals and the Sabres. To the booth, here's Chris Cuthbert and John Garrett.
Ron, prior to Game 5, Ron Wilson talked about his team having a foot on a poisonous snake. This series could be over if they hadn't been snake bit in game number 5.
Well, Dominic Hasek played one of the best games I've seen any goaltender play in the playoffs ever. 25 scoring chances against the Washington Capitals were all over him. But the Washington Capitals have to look at themselves. Their best goal scorer, one of the best goal scorers in the league, has 2 breakaways, Peter Bondra, and when he gets the chance, he doesn't get it up and over Dominic Hasek. And look at some of the saves. Casual around the net. The Capitals were getting so many chances that they didn't bury them. They thought they could score, and they thought they would score eventually, while Dominic Hasek had other ideas. And when you do get those quality scoring chances, you better make sure they go in, especially against a goaltender like Dominic Hasek.
Well, as we found out, though, in Game 5, it's easier said than done. Ron?
All right, I want to try a playoff here. Never mind. This is what all the fans have here tonight.
All right, we got Primo, Cruz, and Ray, the Buffalo Crash Line, against my buddy Berube, Simon, and Hunter. They're going to start, by the way. You know what I mean? They've got them both start. Unfortunately for us, we've got Don Koharski as the referee, who will put a kibosh on that right off the bat. But I got something to show you. Just in the little warm-up, something that goes on. I love it. Chris Simon and Berube and those guys. Watch this. He puts it in. Now watch. Turns the net around, and he pushes it over. Now watch this. And now they push it back. Now he turns around and sees it. Turn around, Chris. Oh, yeah? I'll show you what I'm going to do to this now. Now what's he doing? Chris, like that, he's looking down at those guys, hit him on the foot. Now you're not going to put it back. Tip it over, atta boy, and he picks up a puck and he rifles it down. Chris Simon, my buddy. Little stuff that goes on.
You know what? He took a penalty 31 seconds in the other night, but the Capitals were all over Buffalo, couldn't buy goals against Dominic. What do you think Ron Wilson feels about tonight? You said he'd be nervous in Game 5.
He was nervous. I told you before about that game, that 3-1 game that they come back in. He's not nervous now. You watch, they'll play, and I told you they play a better game. The problem is this guy in net for Buffalo doesn't let him in, but they're not nervous now. They'll play a better game tonight than they did in Washington, which is going to be pretty tough.
Here, you can keep that little souvenir. Capitals 6-1 on the road, but they are in the Dominator's dwelling tonight. Caps will have to dwell on that when we continue on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
Some political parties would have you believe that they're balancing the budget. And maybe they are.
On the other hand, the Molson Canadian Rocks Party is bringing hundreds of Canadians from across the country to party headquarters in Ottawa for a massive-scale Canada Day bash. On July 1st, join the party. Must be legal drinking age, no purchase necessary.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Wouldn't putting your stars together with our 5-star rating be a bright thing to do?
Remember, kids in the back seat.
And buckle up.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Brought to you by Molson Canadian and by Ford Motor Company of Canada Limited.
Back at the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo, where the Sabres are bidding to stay alive in the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Caps are trying to close out the series. Ron Wilson said this morning it's impossible to conceive of a 5- or 6-game series in which Dominik Hasek would not be a major factor, and he was 2 nights ago in Washington, stealing Game 5 for Buffalo and stopping, among others, Peter Bondra. The matchup of Bondra and Hasek's been a lifelong affair. Now it's evolved into Bondra, 52-goal scorer, versus Hasek, best goaltender in the world. In his NHL career, Bondra has scored 21 goals in 27 games against the Sabres, most of those on Hasek. He should know how to beat him, given he faced Hasek in Czechoslovakian elite leagues. Bondra was not on form for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, but in Game 2 of this series, he started back with a key goal, controversial but good for Bondra's confidence, which peaked in Game 3. A pair of goals, evidence of that. He couldn't beat Hasek in Game 5, and so Bondra's finest moment in this postseason remains the OT winner he rifled in Game 3.
I play against him over Europe. He was the best goalie in Europe at that time. Now he's the best goalie in the world, and it's really hard to score against him. But at the same time, as a goal scorer, you have to trust your instinct. You have to believe yourself. You can score against him. That's the only way you can score against him.
One of the reasons the Caps are on the verge of advancing is the work of 13-year veteran Adam Oates in the face-off circles. Built his career on points. He's tied for 5th in playoff scoring, but his biggest contribution against Buffalo has been on the draw. He won 18 of the 26 he took in Game 5. Chris and John.
Well, Scott, it was billed as a goaltender's duel when the series began, and in the past 2 games, the netminders have taken center stage, and we're set for Game 6. Ole Kolzig, the starting goaltender for Washington, he was spectacular here in Game 4 with the shutout. Still owns the best goals against average and save percentage in the playoffs. And 2 nights ago, at the other end, the Dominator with a clinic on how he earned his nickname, 34 saves in an Olympian performance. Don Koharski's the referee tonight. Gord Brosiker, Brian Murphy are on the lines. And as Don Cherry mentioned, the crash lines are out to start. Hunter, Simon, Berube, Wayne Primo back in the lineup along with Rob Ray, and Paul Cruz seeing his first action of the playoffs. Minority back to get the icing call against the Sabres.
The Sabres get the puck out quickly out of their own zone. It ends up being an icing call, and that's something they didn't do in Game 5, and they paid for it. Dominik Hasek had to bail them out. The defense stays the same. Jason Woolley with that big goal, and Paul Cruz and Wayne Primo are in, and Curtis Brown has a shoulder problem, but Miroslav Shatan did not know he wasn't playing till after the warm-up. Kind of a surprise scratch for Lindy Ruff.
Looks like Ruff wants to answer the momentum that Dale Hunter's line has provided. Here's Cruz after the puck, and he chips it out. Paul Cruz was injured late in the regular season on April 15th, a knee problem, and this is his first game back since then. Here's Hunter swinging it across. Simon dropped it off, and Wayne Primo picks it up for Buffalo. Primo rolling it back in. He did not play in Game 5. Up ahead now, it's fed to Berube. Greg Berube, who scored the game winner in the last game here in Buffalo. In fact, it's been 25 days since the Sabres won a game here at the Marine Midland Arena. Sent down into the Washington zone. Riki back to get it. And another icing call in the opening minute against Buffalo.
And the Washington Capitals come back with the same lineup. Many of us thought that Mark Tenorti would not be able to play. He did not skate yesterday, but he skated today after taking a shot in the ankle. The Hunter line, again, starting for Ron Wilson, trying to set the tone, but as you mentioned, Chris, Lindy Ruff countering with his crash line. And Ron Wilson looks on. He hopes that his team bears down on their scoring chances. They outchanced the Buffalo Sabres 23-6 in Game 5 and just couldn't beat Dominic Hasek. There's a look at Mark Tenorti sitting on the bench.
Another face-off win by Adam Oates. Got the puck back to Juneau, and Hasek tested early. And Oates, as Scott Oak mentioned, has been a dominant force in the face-off circles.
And not just winning, but winning cleanly. Here comes the puck back to Joe Juneau, and it's a skipper. It's off a stick, and Dominic Hasek, look at the positioning. He knows it's going to bounce, so he takes it off his chest. Doesn't try and catch it. Just get the body in front of it, makes the save.
Could he have won that one any cleaner? Oates again, and it should be noted, as the Sabres have some trouble in their own zone, that Buffalo spent extra time after practice yesterday on faceoffs. Don Lieber took the centers aside, and they must have each taken 50 draws, but it hasn't helped them against Oates on the opening shift of the game. Puck played through center ice, and here's Shannon, one of the best Sabres in the last game, beating Grosek, who shot it well wide. Here's a chance for Wilson. Oh, through Kolzig and out the other way, and Kolzig sprawls. Puck still loose, and now a penalty coming up against the Capitals. Joe Ricci, I think, is going to get the gate, but Kolzig got a lucky break as it went through him and wide of the post.
And Don Koharski got right up on the net so that he could see that that puck was still loose. And the penalty to Ricci did not come until the puck came back out in front. There's the interference call by Don Koharski. And the Washington Capitals did dodge a bullet. That puck went through Olaf Kolzig out the other side. And he thought it was in. Now here's the chance. It goes right through Kolzig, doesn't see it, and Kolzig reaches over, and that's the advantage of being so big and no whistle. And you can see where Koharski is. He's right there and sees Kolzig doesn't have it.
Zhitnik rips a shot on goal. The Sabres were 0 for 4 on the power play in Game 5 without a good scoring opportunity. Zhitnik back on the point. Still looking for his first point in this series. Fires it in. Up front is Sanderson with Audette and Derek Plant back to the point. There's Woolley, a shot through, and Kolzig with the glove save. Sanderson on the doorstep, and already a little more energy in the Sabres power play this evening.
And that's the thing with early power plays. The Sabres have had some problems with the power play. There's the one before the penalty. Was right through Kolzig, out the other side, and here's where the penalty was called. And you can see Kolzig trying to draw it against the post and using his full 6'4" frame, covering up the bottom of the net.
Sabres control this face-off. Zhitnik shot. Kolzig with the stop. Plant gets the rebound for Buffalo. Here's Jeff Sanderson. He spins it back to Audette, who couldn't come up with it. Plant now up against Johansson, and Washington clears. 2.5 minutes into the opening period. 50 seconds gone in Ricci's minor.
The last 2 games at home, Buffalo's had early power plays and didn't get any chances. They've had 3 chances already on this power play and look much sharper, and the crowd is still in it.
Along the boards, Plant, and now rifled down the ice by Tenorti. And the Caps change their penalty killers. Sabres 2 for 27 now on the power play in the series. Pekka's on the ice with Ward and Barada. Brendan Witt, he couldn't get it out of there. Ward sprawls to get it to the point. Zhitnik moves up, handed it back to Ward. Woolley. Dixon Ward goes cross ice. Here's the shot, and it deflects wide. Ward side of the net, chipped it high. Oates pulls it down. Around the boards, it'll be kept in by Pekka. Cross ice to Woolley. Jason Woolley, the scoring hero of Game 5. In behind the net, Ward. Now Pekka, hit by Juneau, and Gonchar gets it, sends it down the ice with a half-dozen seconds remaining in the Capitals penalty.
But a much better power play for the Buffalo Sabres. You can hear the excitement of the crowd just because they did have some chances and had control of the puck.
There's Johansson Around the boards, cut off by Groshek. Shannon to Wilson. Here's the shot. And that one hit Kolzig or somebody right in front of him. Now spinning with it is Barnaby. Barnaby tried to power his way in front and couldn't get by Riki. Well, when you talk to the Sabres coaching staff, they have a great deal of admiration for the way Riki and Tenorti have played against them in this series. Now Witt sends it to the Buffalo line. Shannon gave it away, knocked it loose again. Housley moves up. Daryl Shannon back in his own zone. One of the 2 goals for Buffalo in Game 5. In fact, it's been 147 minutes plus since a Buffalo forward has scored in this series.
As a boy,
Why do dogs sniff each other?
That's just kind of our way of shaking hands.
John Doolittle was in touch with nature.
Nice to meet you.
John! 30 years later, nature's getting in touch with him.
I'ma smack that mustache off your face!
Eddie Murphy.
Hello.
Stop talking to me! Dr. Doolittle.
Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight.
June 26th, only in theaters.
Every day, the stock market changes, which is why at Trimark, our approach doesn't. Insightful investigation to find companies that will grow over the long term.
Keys to Game 6 for the Buffalo Sabres. Use the home crowd. They did that with the power play. They had some chances, and there's the power play at the bottom. 0 for 11 in Games 4 and 5. But they had more chances, Chris, on that first power play than they did in both those games. It looked a lot better. They had some control.
And the fans have responded. It's louder in this building tonight right now than in the first 2 games. But here's Housley. His shot blocked by Buchner, who had his stick broken on the play. Now Simon against Ray along the boards. Matchup of the crash lines here in Game 6. Woolley pushes it ahead, and Big Primo's after it. Tried to go cross ice, hit Hunter, and Hunter stepped into by Cruz, and I think Paul Cruz is going off.
I thought this might be an interference penalty, but it looks like a roughing penalty. Are they both going to go, or is it just Paul Cruz? And Paul Cruz anxious to get back in. The adrenaline flowing, your second shift of the game. And now you see Cruz picks Dale Hunter. He didn't have the puck, and that's why I thought Don Kowarski would call an interference penalty, but instead he calls it roughing. Either way, the Washington Capitals have their first power play of the game.
Well, they acquired Cruz from the New York Islanders late in the year to beef up physically, and in his last 12 games with Buffalo, 49 penalty minutes. So the Capitals, with their first power play of the game, 4 for 25 in the series. They got a couple of goals here in Buffalo with the man advantage as they won both games at the Marine Midland Arena. Juneau, Oates, and Bellows. Housley and Gonchar. Gonchar moves up. Jitnik trying to get it out of there, can't do it. Oates unable to come up with it behind the net, and the Sabres get it past Housley down the ice. Now Derek Plant out in a penalty-killing role with Holzinger. Bellows went rink ride. There's Juneau in front. Oates with the redirection. And a big stop there by Dominic Hasek.
And again, Dominic Hasek taking away the bottom of the net. And this was a lucky play that this pass got through. Brian Bellows feeds Joey Juneau. It's tipped, but Juneau still gets it. Oates goes to the net, and the tip-in try is low. And there's Dominic Hasek taking away the bottom of the net. Hasek's there, gets as close to the stick as he can, and out goes the right pad, and no chance for that one to go in.
Ron Wilson saying this morning it would have to be a bad goal for Washington to score low on Hasek. He just closes down that lower part of the net.
So strong along the ice.
Sabres won that face-off, send it down the ice. 50 seconds gone in the penalty to Cruz, and we've hit the 6-minute mark of the opening period. Scoreless in Game 6. Tikkanen, nice lead pass to Zednik, who spins it wide of the net. There's Nicolishin. He's been on the ice for 7 of the 10 Capitals goals in this series. Ward got it out to center. Esa Tikkanen. Left wing for Zednik. He turns it back. Now ahead it goes to Johansson on the far side. Stopped up by Hasek. On the glass. Now Wilson can't get it out, but it is over the line and out to center. Off the stick of Plant. Bondra back in now. He drops it off for Tikkanen. Shot wide of the net off the side. Shannon in front. Got it to the line. Kept in by Tikkanen. Here's Bondra. Put it up in front, and Holzinger is able to backhand it down the ice. And now 10 seconds left in the Buffalo penalty. Esa Tikkanen with Cruz getting set to return. Tikkanen moving in, a shot, rebound, hooked wide. Zednik sends it away, and here's Cruz after. He's onside. Paul Cruz with a backhand, deflected high as Gonchar got back. Bondra now flipping it and giving it away to Barnaby. Knocked off his stick and sent back in offside. So both teams failed to score on their first power plays.
The hardship. The bravery. The victory. Over the next several weeks, CBC presents a retrospective of Canada's role in the World Wars. Critically acclaimed films and documentaries chronicle the courage and commitment of the men and women who fought for our country. Remembering Canada at War, a CBC special presentation. The sounds of summer on CBC Sports, home of the champions.
Paul Cruz last scored on March 29th. Here he gets by Esa Tikkanen, who's out far too long, cuts into the net, tries to go to his backhand. And Sergei Gonchar gets back to tip that puck away, pulls it to his backhand to try and give himself a better angle. But in so doing, he allowed Gonchar to get a stick on it.
Sabres with much better legs in the early going tonight than they showed in all of Game 5. There's Hunter looking rink wide, pass didn't get through. And Dale will pick it up again. Johansson, Benorti. Left side for Eagles. Into the Buffalo zone. Woolley hooks it ahead. Plant looks over the left side. Sanderson with some room. Here's Jeff Sanderson in. Backhands it to the corner. Audette picks it up in front. Sanderson tied up by Johansson. 3 Sabres after it in the corner. And Sanderson out with it. Jeff Sanderson twisting away from Miller. Now plays it in deep. Donald Audette, who took the morning skate off, sliding it in on Folzig. And Eagles hit by Audette, keeps going at center. Here's a 2-on-1. Bondra off the bench. Back to Eagles in front. And he can't beat the Dominator.
Peter Bondra off the bench is out there with Mike Eagles. And Mike Eagles tries a good play, makes a good move, but he's not a scorer, and the Sabres play this very well. Who are you going to give the shot? Peter Bondra or Mike Eagles? So they leave Eagles and go to Bondra. Eagles throws it to Bondra. He wants the goal scorer to have it, but they go right to Bondra. Now Mike Eagles has the breakaway, and that's a good decision by Jason Woolley. Now earlier, Jeff Sanderson has a chance to go wide, and I think this is tactical errors by the Buffalo Sabres. They have to use their speed and challenge Washington's defense wide.
There's Nicolishin trying to power his way in front, and sprawling is Hasek. Boy, Nicolishin is playing with a lot of confidence as this series wears on. More points in the series than any other player with a half dozen.
Well, here's They should just step into Andre Nicolishin. And you can see Zhitnik and Schmelik both have their heads down, but you have to make the guy pay the price when he walks out like that, and Zhitnik and Schmelik both were looking down at the puck instead of the man.
Pekka on this face-off, but Nicolishin pulled it back. Gonchar's shot off a leg into the corner. There's Nicolishin on it again, and he tripped up Pekka. Fans react, but the play continues. In behind the net now, Hasek left it for Schmelik, and up ahead past Ward and out to center. Gonchar to Bondra, knocked down by Ward. Richard Zednik bouncing it in on Hasek. And there's Bondra forechecking. To the line, kept in by Nicolishin. Now Zednik's on it. As the Capitals go to work offensively. Bondra tied up and knocked down by Schmelik. Nicolishin in after it. Pekka for the Sabres. Trying to move it ahead, and it's finally out to center. Bondra dumps it back in. Hasek sweeps it around. Barada out to center, and Johansson will play it there. Now a loose puck picked up by Barada, and it's offside. Oh, close call there. And it looked like Barada had waited long enough, but Holzinger was trapped.
Keys for the Washington Capitals. Get off to a good start, get the crowd out of the game. Well, the crowd's still in the game because the Sabres power play looked pretty good and scoring their chances. And we've seen already, they've had a couple of good scoring chances. Mike Eagles, they have to bear down around the net. Easier said than done against Dominik Hasek.
After the early flurry by the Sabres, John, the shots now 7-4 in favor of Washington. And Bondra and Zednik along with Nicolishin. Pretty good last shift. Now it's Oates, Juneau, and Bellows. And Brian Bellows is without a goal in his last 8 games. The scoring hero in the first 2 rounds for the Capitals. And Oates has been limited to just a pair of assists so far in this series. So this is a line ready to explode. Wilson takes over. Up ahead for Groshek at center. He pushes it by Johansson. Here's Groshek in the Washington zone. And a good play coming back by Juneau to help get it out. Shannon, you could hear Barnaby calling for that pass. Quickly over the other side. Groshek over the line. Holzinger with a move. Now passing it across. Off the skate of Wilson indeed. Mike Wilson now in front. He's knocked down. Barnaby. Rebound. And he flips that one high over the glass. Out of play.
Well, there's a good example of the Washington Capitals collapsing back in front of Olaf Kolzig, and even when they do make a mistake, they're always there defensively. They're a very disciplined team, and when you try and get that shot, you're always shooting through a crowd. Now look at how many Capitals. Here they've made a mistake, they've popped up the puck. Now look at the Caps swarm in front of Olaf Kolzig. All 5 guys are within a 15-foot radius in front, and there's no way that puck can go through. It's off a body, up and over the glass.
Sabres win the draw. Woolley, a drive, and Kolzig alertly makes the save and covers the rebound.
Now Esa Tikkanen is talking to Brian Murphy. He didn't like the way that face-off happened. And he's talking to him still. And the Buffalo Sabres won with that one clean. There it goes right back. Derek Plant wins it, and the shot comes through. And Tikkanen didn't like the way it went down. He looked right away at Brian Murphy and said, I didn't have my stick down, and neither did he.
Now Sanderson backhands it in front. Woolley now towards the net wide. Sanderson working along the boards. Here's Audette trying to sneak away from Tikkanen. Still with it. Donald Audette knocked off his stick. Buchner. Audette picks up the puck now and chases it into the corner. Takes a big hit from Witt. Buchner calls for it. Penalty coming up against Washington. Buchner moves up. Plays it around the boards. Woolley gets across. Throws it at the net. And Kolzig with the save as Don Koharski calls a cross-checking penalty against Washington.
This is our river. Mud bugs, wet clothes. Destination. Roughing it. Rustic kid. In the great frontier. Well, the wildlife here. The This is our beer. This is our beer.
At Ford, we're working on a new fuel cell with Canada's Ballard Power Systems. It uses hydrogen to make electricity. One day, it could power your vehicle. The exhaust would be nothing but clean, hot water. Go from Saskatoon to the coast, and you'd have enough water to take a bath. While others dream, we drive forward, never slowing, never stopping.
Too bad rush hour couldn't be like this. Players Grand Prix of Canada, Saturday at 5 on CBC.
With Brendan Witt in the penalty box, Sabres set to go on the power play. Tough break for Buffalo's Curtis Brown to be unable to play tonight. What's the story on your shoulder?
It's a little sore, and it's just going to be a day-to-day, so hopefully I'll be back for Game 7.
All right, Curtis, thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Chris.
Well, a real flurry there in front of Kolzig. Jason Woolley testing him twice, and Barnaby causing havoc in front of the net.
Well, and Olaf Kolzig is another big goalie who goes down, covers the bottom of the net, and when you get a rebound, you have to try and get it up and over his pads. He can extend his legs from post to post. Here's the original save. Now watch Olaf Kolzig when he goes down. He's down with the stick down, gets back up, shot comes through, he'll go down again. Now the rebound's out there. And look at the Buffalo Sabres trying to get it. They cannot get it up and over Olaf Kolzig.
Kolziger won the draw, another shot out of the rebound. Knocked high and wide, and Oates will get it out of there. And the Sabres coming close with the power play. And I think the key there, John, both face-offs won by Holzinger in the Capital zone.
And once you win those draws, you can drive to the net, and that's what the Sabres are doing.
Now Proshik's out there. After it behind the net, nailed by Tenorti. Barnaby picks up the loose puck, feeds the point. There's Woolley, Oates high on him, and the shot went wide, an injured cap down, and play has been stopped, and Mark Tenorti has been shaken up.
And Matthew Barnaby was going, well, why did you blow the whistle to Don Koharski? And the Caps were in the area, did not have control of the puck. Here comes Mark Tenorti, he's back to his feet. There's the puck, goes off Mark Tenorti's face as Barnaby was trying to throw it back to the point. And he's not cut. The faceoff stays deep in the zone. Tenorti now banged up his ankle and took that one off the side of the face. Stan Wong comes back to the bench, the Washington trainer, longtime Capitals athletic trainer.
Minute 16 remaining in Brendan Witt's minor. Plant against Nicoletion. This time the Caps win it. And that puck whistled by the face of Woolley down the ice. Jason Woolley talking about that goal the other night, and the only one that even comes close in significance was a shootout goal in the '92 Olympics against Germany, and an icing call against the Sabres power play.
Well, there was a defensive faceoff won by the Caps. They shot it down. 20 seconds go by, and then the Sabres are forced to shoot it in from their own side of center. And now we have another faceoff deep in the Buffalo zone, so this really eats up your power play. And people have been criticizing the Buffalo power play in the last couple of games, and a lot of it has to do is with the faceoffs. And Adam Oates against Brian Holzinger, and because Curtis Brown is not in the lineup, and there was Holzinger winning it right straight back against Adam Oates, and that created two good scoring chances. And that's the thing, Holzinger wins the draw, goes to the net, and gets the scoring chance. When you win the faceoff, especially on the power play, good things are going to happen.
50 seconds remaining in the power play. Holzinger matched up more against Oates tonight with the injury to Curtis Brown, who had been in that matchup earlier in the series, and now the puck flipped over the glass out of play.
Faceoff will come outside, and there was another shoot-in. And the Sabres have talked about when they do drive the puck around the boards, they haven't won any of the battles. And there was one, they shot it in, did not get there soon enough, and the Caps are able to get it up and out. Faceoff comes outside the blue line.
So new line mates for Holzinger. tonight as he moves up with Groshek and Barnaby in place of the injured Curtis Brown. And from the face-off, Shannon moved up, but the Caps take over. And Tenorti returns to the ice, can't get it out. Groshek knocked it down. Barnaby in the corner. Gets it back for Woolley. Wrist shot through and ended up in the corner. Groshek trying to knock it down. Tenorti up with it to the line, kept in by Woolley. Here's Holzinger handing it off to Barnaby. Back to Woolley. Shot! Oh, Holzinger just tipped it wide. Nice redirection. Woolley played it perfectly, and Holzinger just missed. Woolley keeps it in again. Penalty over, and went back on the ice. Buffalo came close again, but still unable to put it behind Kolzig.
Well, they got it behind Kolzig. Holzinger's tip-in was behind him, but missed the far post. And Holzinger had nothing but net, but that hard pass was just too much for him to handle. Twice the Washington Capitals had the puck with complete control and couldn't get it out. The Sabres were guilty of that in Game 5, especially on their penalty kill. And you create so many problems for yourself when you have control and don't get it out. Now here's Mark Tenorti, not hard enough around the boards. They don't get it out. Jason Woolley makes a good play. Puck goes back to the point, and Holzinger goes, he's on the backhand, he's got the whole net, and just can't direct it towards the net enough to get it to go in.
13 shots for the Sabres in the opening 13 minutes of the hockey game, but haven't got one by Holzig yet. Dale Hunter up for Simon. Rifles it in wide of the net, then will give chase, and Hasek there to cover it, and now Simon. And Butner in the midst of it. As the momentum lines butt heads here in the opening period of Game 6.
Well, right after the penalty kill by the Caps, in which the Buffalo Sabres controlled play, Ron Wilson has the Hunter line out again. And Don Koharski is now waving people off.
And we believe Dale Hunter is going to be penalized.
When it comes to home improvement, one thing tends to lead to another, and another, and another. That's why Canadian Tire has everything you need, from tools to accessories to hardware. And once you improve your home, who knows where that may lead? Canadian Tire, Canada's home improvement store.
Dale Hunter takes the roughing penalty, and it's the way Dale Hunter came into the scrum. Now here is the forecheck by Chris Simon. Dominic Hasek has the puck. Now watch Dale Hunter come into the scrum. There's Berube, there's Ray, and here comes Dale Hunter with Ray. And I still don't know how Don Koharski could pick one guy out of that scrum. I thought for sure there'd be coincidental minors, but when you have over 3,000 penalty minutes, I guess it's the automatic call, and Dale Hunter's in the penalty box.
Ron Wilson talking about Hunter this morning, that he will do anything to win, anything good or anything illegal to get the job done. And that's one of the reasons he has so much admiration for the captain. Ronald Audette sending it in. Sabres have failed to convert on their last 13 power play chances. They've had plenty of opportunities tonight. Sanderson's out there now. Tried to get the puck away from Riki. Unable to do so. Juneau to the line and out. Now Jitnik. Derek Plant will circle at center. Give it to Woolley, who's been active in this first period. He's shot it to an open wing, and Gonchar pounced on it. 5:20 remaining. First period, Game 6. Still scoreless. Here's Woolley. Nice pass ahead. Audette shooting. Rebound. Tenorti. Tried to get it to the corner, and the Caps get it down the ice.
Not a bad play by Donald Audette coming in off the wrong wing. Good hard shot. Kolzig couldn't control the rebound, but nobody there to get it.
Now here comes Barnaby over the line. Twist there, gave it to Bondra. Better be careful. Nicolishin nearly was loose on the right side. Now Woolley steps into Nicolation and Hasek gives it to Daryl Shannon. Quickly ahead Barnaby. Now it's Holzinger. 3-on-2. Here they come, and Barnaby off the skate, unable to get it back across. Half minute to go in the power play, and Bondra's going the other way. 18 career shorthanded goals, and this one into the second deck of seats.
There was another outman chance for the Buffalo Sabres where they didn't get a shot on net with the power play. Peter Bondra had 8 shots on goal. Can you believe that in Game 5? 5 scoring chances, including 2 breakaways. And the Dominator dominated Peter Bondra in Game 5, whereas in Game 3 it was the other way around.
Yeah, how many times in his 52-goal season did he go 0 for 5 chances? A couple of breakaways, one was shorthanded. And now 15 seconds remaining. And the penalty to Dale Hunter. That shoot-in went off Gonchar. Here's Ward rolling it to the net. Pekka on the far side. Marotta kicks it back to the point. Schmelik to Pekka. Now Hunter back on the ice. There's a shot through. Dixon Ward has it. Pekka put it in, but the whistle had gone. And a penalty coming up against Buffalo. An obstruction penalty and no goal. Vaclav Marotta is headed off Washington on the power play when we come back.
Mondays, it's comics.
Hey, so dig this. Ha ha, staying alive, staying alive.
An outstanding season of hilarious stand-up. Comics.
Oh, yes. Make me look like a geek.
Make an impression.
Well, honorable member, I think
Well, I know what you're thinking.
I know what you're all thinking.
They think you've been punished. Dysfunctional family viewing.
How do you want to pay for that? It's a bargain.
Monday nights on CBC.
Comedy night, not reality night.
On the beaches of northern France. August 19th, 1942.
This is not some dinner invitation.
Canada's darkest day of World War II.
I'll take anything as long as it gets us into action before the Americans. Yeah.
A CBC television event.
A lot of kids I trained are going to die.
Remembering Canada at War. Dieppe Part 2 concludes Sunday night at 8.
3:57 away from the coach's corner. Don Cherry, Ron McLean in our first intermission, and Marotta in the penalty box. Giving the Capitals their second power play of this opening period. Now Juneau spotting Bellows coming in. Puck went over his stick. Bellows tries to center it. Comes around for Juneau. There's Oates. Lost control of it, and Schmelik backhands it over Housley down the ice.
Another late power play, and you can see the passes. Those passes are hard to make this late in the period. Puck bouncing all over the place.
Housley in. Puck knocked out of midair by Pekka. Zhitnik trying to clear it. Bounce to Pekka, and he sends it down the ice. Holzinger, look at that speed. He nearly caught up to Housley, who was in retreat. Now Juneau over the line. Spots Bellows again. Housley to Juneau. Oates. Had it knocked off his stick by Schmelik. Bellows. Oates back to the line. Ripped in by Housley. And now Schmelik will get it past Housley and out. 55 seconds remaining. In the penalty to Marotta. Gonchar ahead. Bellows on his wrong wing. Into Oates. Back to Housley at the point. Turns, fires, and a redirection. Stopped by Hasek. And Bellows buried in front of the net.
Phil Housley did a good job keeping that puck in at the blue line, but again, it's that low shot. Housley's trying to get it up. There it is. That's a high shot, but it gets knocked down, and you can see Brian Bellows. He doesn't have enough room to get the puck up in the air. And Bellows goes to the front of the net. Here's the traffic. Mike Wilson knocks it down, and Bellows takes a whack at it, but it's too low, and Hasek makes the save.
Brad Bellows was saying this morning that what makes Hasek especially tough is when you're standing in front of the net trying to get the deflection, Hasek comes right out behind you, and doesn't give you much room to get the puck by the netminder. And again there, Hasek strong with Bellows in front of the net. 15 shots for the Sabres in the first period, 10 for the Caps. 20 seconds remaining in this power play. Bondra out there now. An inner pass off the skate to center. Tikkanen couldn't come up with it. Daryl Shannon has it for the Sabres. Hitmans the puck. Holzinger, and he drills it high and wide. Derek Plant out there now. Good speed in this penalty-killing tandem for Buffalo. As Verrata returns. Holzinger tying it up. Finally loose. And Esa Tikkanen just knocks it out to center. Final 2 minutes of the opening period. Still scoreless in Game 6. There's Verrata. Now over to Woolley. Jason Woolley steps up, took a hit, got it to Primo. Primo fanned on the shot. Groshek slid it through. Tenardi got it ahead for Nicolishin. Primo just missed him with a big hit. And it's flipped down, wide of Hasek. Now it's center Barnaby. Hitmans it to Primo. Groshek on the far side. Puts it behind the net, and Hunter is there. Peter Bondra out to center. And now the final minute of the opening period. Cross-ice pass, and Primo taken into the Washington bench by Simon as he got it in deep. Greg Berube on left wing. And he put that one into the penalty box as he jostled a bit with Dixon Ward.
Trying to feed Dale Hunter, who was up at the Buffalo blue line. The crash line has played pretty well for Ron Wilson. The first game of this series, they took a couple of unnecessary penalties and they didn't see much ice. But after that, they've averaged between 10 and 12 minutes a game and have played very, very well.
Greg Berube was a Stanley Cup finalist in his rookie year with the Flyers. Has not been back since. And of course, Dale Hunter looking for his first chance in 18 NHL seasons. Sabres talked about their legs feeling like rubber in Game 5. Dixon Ward, who was on the ice, he felt so lousy during the course of the game. He took an ice bath in the second intermission to try and get himself going. But the Sabres have had a lot more jump tonight. Puck out of play. Buffalo quite candid about the fact that maybe their youth, if they felt the pressure of Game 5, looked a lot more comfortable now that they've dodged elimination once in this series.
Well, they've adjusted their forecheck and are forechecking much better. And you can see the number of times that the Washington Capitals have had to just flick the puck up over the glass or ice the puck because the Sabres are forechecking much better. And it's not as easy for them just to ring the boards and get it out.
You know, Dominik Hasek came out with the Swiss cheese sign after losing Game 4. Coaching staff for Buffalo said after watching the videotape of Game 5, they said all the forwards should have came out with dog on the back of their sweaters. That's how poorly they played. Final 10 seconds, Holzinger backhanding it in, clubbed by Gonchar. And that will do it for the opening period of Game number 6.
And the crowd still involved in this game due to the fact that the Buffalo Sabres have picked up their speed, picked up their skating.
Don Cherry, Ron McLean coming up next in the coach's corner. Shots on goal, 16-10 Buffalo in period 1, and we are scoreless.
Challenges the course, set in the international ring at Spruce Meadows. Rise up for the Canadian Pacific World Cup, June 13th. Over 300 kilometers an hour. Nerves of steel. Split-second timing with no room for error. Players Grand Prix of Canada, Saturday at 5 on CBC. This portion of Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC is brought to you by Ford Motor Company of Canada Limited.
Second period just underway at the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo. We're scoreless after one period of play. 16-10 the shots on goal for Buffalo. That matches their shot total for 60 minutes in Game 5.
And again, the Dale Hunter line starts period 2 for Ron Wilson and the Caps, trying to set the tone.
Up against a newly formed crash line for the Sabres, at least new to the playoffs. This line had some success late in the year after the acquisition of Paul Cruz for the final 12 games. On a line with Rob Ray and Wayne Primo. And now Berube will step in to take the face-off. Mentioned 16 shots for the Sabres, 10 by defenseman, 5 by Jason Woolley. Here's Simon snapping one right on. Hasha clears it, gave it right to Brendan Witt in front, and Woolley there to push it forward. Primo's on the move. Simon's back, and Primo's around him. Shot, and Kolzig to stop. Cruz at the doorstep. Woolley moves up, and it's under Kolzig, and Cruz knocked out of there by Simon.
And then Rob Ray tried to come in.
And now Ray and Simon.
The Washington Capitals are very good at covering up when their defensemen pinch in. And that time it was Chris Simon who came back, and he was beaten by Wayne Primo cleanly wide. Now Don Koharski is trying to settle things down. Rob Ray and Chris Simon are still talking.
And Cruz and Simon are headed off. Or is it Brendan Witt?
Now, as soon as Brendan Witt pinched in, Chris Simon went back. The Capitals are very good at realizing that, but Chris Simon's not a defenseman. Look at him, he has to turn very early. He doesn't skate backwards very well. Primo goes right around him. Olaf Kolzig makes 3 good saves. There's 1, there's 2. Puck stays out, and here comes the third one. And now that's when all the confusion started. There's Paul Cruz and Dale Hunter. And in comes Rob Ray. Brendan Witt, after the fact, skates over.
Washington penalty to number 17, Chris Simon.
And Simon and Cruz do go off at the 39-second mark of the second period. Simon for cross-checking and Cruz for roughing.
Time of the penalties, 39 seconds.
Now here's Olaf Kolzig, makes the first save, and there's the second one. And look at Brendan Witt coming back, gets his toe on that, and the bounces are going Washington's way again tonight.
Wow, that's the biggest save of the night. Brendan Witt saving a goal. And we remain scoreless. Now Oates skate in front of the net, and Kolzig another stop. Close call there as Adam Oates got handcuffed.
You think back to Game 5 and all the turnovers made by the Buffalo Sabres. It's Washington's turn tonight. Now here's Mark Tenorti. Under the forecheck, decides to give it to Adam Oates. That's a bad play. Oates is circling in front of his own net. The pass is off his skates. Tenorti can't find it. Olaf Kolzig gets the big glove on it before any damage is done.
We had the chances, 8-3 Buffalo in the first period. Holzinger had a couple of chances, so did Woolley, and another chance for Brian Holzinger there. 4-on-4, Oates and Juneau against Holzinger and Droshek up front. There's Shitnik. Up ahead, Holzinger off the skate of Johansson. Oates turns now, Juneau 2-on-1. The pass across, blocked by Schmiller. And now Shitnik picks it up. Alexei Shitnik pounding it in wide. He'll give chase. And Joe Ricci picks it up. Up ahead it goes to Oates. Juneau takes the drop pass. Watched by Shannon. And Juneau lost it. Kicked ahead. And Wilson had to hop over his step. Out at center, it's Gonchar. Now Dixon Ward's out there. Holzinger heads to the bench as Pekka joins Ward on the front line for Buffalo. Wilson nearly lost it to Bondra. And now Peter Bondra gets control of it. Gonchar returns the pass. Bondra trying to chase it down in the Buffalo zone. Stopped by Wilson. And Ward outlet nicely Pekka. On the move, Shannon touching up. There's Shannon Pekka. A kick save by Kolzig that went right by Shannon on the rebound. Kolzig's been sharp so far. Now Bondra whips a shot wide. All the way up for Shannon at center. Pekka the trailer. Takes the pass. Quick shot. And Kolzig stopped that one. Out in front it goes. Dixon Ward headed to the bench and didn't see it coming.
The end of a long shift, so Dixon Ward just throws it back to Jason Woolley.
Up to 22 Buffalo shots on goal. And we've only played 22 minutes and 50 seconds. But nothing to show for it. Audette dashing in there. Rebound! And Kolzig picks that out of the air. Buffalo is storming the net, but they can't beat Ole, the goalie.
Some political parties claim to be the voice of the nation. The Molson Canadian Rocks Party, however,
just wants to be the PA system. For an exclusive Canada Day bash live from party headquarters in Ottawa. How do we do it? Volume. On July 1st, join the party. Must be legal drinking age, no purchase necessary.
The mighty Chrysler.
The 300 idea is the idea of a powerful, responsive, nimble automotive machine.
Introducing the all-new 99 Chrysler 300M, the most powerful sports sedan in its class.
As long as I've worked on this engine, I still get a tingle every time we open the hood.
The Chrysler 300M. The technology has changed, but the soul lives on.
Shots on goal are now 7-0 here in the second period. Here's the chance by Mike Pekka. Kicked out. Daryl Shannon is in too close, and Kolzig's able to kick it right by him. Now Donald Audette doesn't get much on the second chance. The wraparound is stopped. Now Audette's got that rolling puck, and you can see he gets underneath it, and it's a chip shot, an easy save for Olaf Kolzig.
We were talking to Ole this morning and about how tough a game like the last one was for him without much action. But he is right in the middle of this one tonight, and razor sharp as he's been throughout the playoffs. Tikkanen and Plant on this face-off. Buffalo wins it. Woolley on the backhand. Loose in front! It's Sanderson! Robbed by Kolzig in front. And heavy traffic, and we'll get a penalty. Just moments ago, John, Don Koharski warned the benches about scrums after the whistle, and he is penalizing the Caps after that takedown in front of Kolzig.
And again, the Buffalo Sabres winning more faceoffs. They were only 1 under 500 in the first period. The faceoffs were 14-13, and that's a big improvement. And this time, Derek Plant wins it back, and the Capitals get a chance and create a power play. Now here's Esa Tikkanen after losing the draw. Now the whistle's gone. And here comes Esa Tikkanen throwing Derek Plant down. The other centerman who won the faceoff against Tikkanen is thrown down, and Tikkanen gets the holding penalty.
So Ron Wilson's team shorthanded again. Buffalo 0 for 3 in the opening period and 0 for its last 14. Jason Woolley had all 5 of his shots on the power play. He's been a trigger man so far tonight. Can he beat Kolzig? Right now, Juneau's going the other way. Tenorti trying to make it a 2-on-1. Juneo shooting. Hasek the save. And Tenorti crashing into the Buffalo netminder.
Now, Mark Tenorti's a defenseman. He knows that if that shot's kicked out, he is completely trapped. So he just goes crashing into the net and takes the whistle. If the puck comes off, it hits him and goes in, it's going to count. Alexei Zhitnik gets caught, but look at Plant come back. Plant gets back to catch Tenorti, and Joey Juneau's got no play except a shot. And there's Dominic, and you can see Tenorti. He wants the whistle. He's trapped. He's a defenseman. So he goes crashing into the net and takes the net off the posts and gets that whistle.
6'4", 213 pounds crashing at you at full speed. Now Barnaby from the faceoff. Groshek dashing into Washington territory. And he's checked by Gonchar. Around the boards, kept in by Zhitnik. Here's Holzinger on it. Pass behind Barnaby. He'll set it up for Zhitnik. And he lost control of it at the line and shoots it back in offside. And they'll bring it all the way down into the Buffalo zone. 42 seconds gone in the power play.
I don't think so, Chris. I think Gord Brossiger is deciding that it was off the stick and in, and so I agree with you. They could have brought that one back all the way. Could have been the intentional offside, but the linesmen are playing it safe, just taking it outside the blue line. There's Tim Army talking things over with Adam Oates on the penalty kill as the Sabres have adjusted. They've done a much better job on their power play, gaining the blue line and gaining the blue line with control.
Woolley up ahead for Holzinger. Dashing back in around Tenorti, who takes him into the boards heavily. Knocked off Barnaby's stick, and Bondra gets it to Nicolishin. And here's Nicolishin one-on-one against Woolley. Nicolishin still going, and a rolling shot. And crash into Hasek again. And they're going to give a penalty on this as Koharski has made at least one call. And somebody, that's Bondra on the back of Holzinger. Peter Bondra enraged.
And now the Sabres have to be careful because Mark Tenorti is going off. They'll have a two-man advantage for 54 seconds. And Don Koharski is standing right there. And it is Tenorti going off for bumping into Hasek.
Well, that's twice in the last 66 seconds that the big man on the Washington defense has met up face-to-face with the Dominator.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
At National Tilden, we believe that when it comes to renting a car, there's really only one place to go. Because at most major airports in Canada, National Tilden gets you in your car and on the road fast. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. National Tilden.
Let's go!
Fans are revved up here at the marina as the Sabres will get a two-man advantage for 54 seconds.
And now the first time Tenorti almost missed Hasek. This time he's on a kamikaze mission and he goes right into the goaltender. Here comes Zhitnik. But that penalty was called early by Don Koharski. There's Tikkanen and Tenorti. 54 seconds left in Esa Tikkanen's penalty. Donald Audette has a power play goal right after a two-man advantage for the Buffalo Sabres. So they could have counted it as a two-man advantage. It was like 5 seconds after the first penalty was over.
Oates, Johansson, Rieke out for Washington as Sanderson fires it in. Audette goes after it. Primo in there as well. He knocked it loose. Sanderson brings it down. Knocked away by Johansson. Primo on it from the corner. And a hot pass back to the point off Pekka's stick. And now, under a half minute left in the two-man advantage. Woolley gets it to Sanderson, and now they'll set it up. Pekka to Woolley. Here's the shot, and that whistled wide. And Pekka unable to keep it in. 10 seconds left in the two-man advantage. Pekka quickly in. Plays it around for Audette. Tikkanen getting set to return. There's Woolley to Pekka. Tikkanen back on the ice as Pekka fired it off the boards. Woolley now shooting it in front. Loose, and Kolzig knocked it away. And Oates dumps it down the ice. Not much sustained pressure with the two-man advantage.
Well, the one shot from Jason Woolley was deflected wide, but other than that, no chances at all for the Buffalo Sabres.
And 40 seconds left in Tenorti's penalty. Gonchar overskated it. Tikkanen lost it. Barnaby to Grosjean. There's Shitnik. His shot right through. Stopped by Kolzig, and Tikkanen sweeps it away. Woolley back. He just got rid of it. Tikkanen on it. Knocked away from Esa Tikkanen, and now Grosjean winding up. Here's Michael Grosjean over the line. Grosjean all the way. Unable to get a shot away. Eagles pounds it around. Here's Shannon. In deep for Grosjean. 5 seconds left in the penalty. One shot left. It's Shitnik maybe to take it, and it's blocked. Nice sliding block there. And the Caps back at full strength. They've dodged a big bullet. And the momentum can swing the other way when you don't take advantage of a two-man power play.
And the Buffalo Sabres, their power play looked pretty good in the first period. They had some chances, did not cash in with the two-man advantage. And you talk about individual efforts. When the team is forcing too hard, you get individual efforts. Now here's Daryl Shannon. Instead of just wristing it towards the net, passes it off, and there's the block by Sergei Gonchar. And the Sabres, when they do start to press, then you see the individualism come up, and they've got this far on being a good team. And they're going to have to get back to playing that team game.
So it's the second time in the series that Buffalo has been unable to cash a two-man advantage. 6.5 minutes gone in the second period. Big hit there by Verata on Johansson. We're still scoreless in Game 6. Buffalo facing elimination for the second time in the series. Wilson fires it in. Verata bumped along the board, stayed with it. Like Wilson shooting, and Kolzig stretching out to make the glove save with Ward on the doorstep.
And Olaf Kolzig is talking to Don Koharski right away, saying, okay, you called the interference at one end. What was that? And that was a good shoot-in by the Buffalo Sabres. Václav Verata got the puck along the boards. Now, Dixon Ward is going to the net. The shot from Mike Wilson gets through, and you can see Dixon Ward taking a piece of Kolzig. Now, does Mark Tenorti push him in? Guides him in, but Dixon Ward makes sure that he gets a piece of Olaf Kolzig. Kolzig was well outside the crease, but no call. Big smile on Kolzig's face. That's the thing when the goalie is that tough, the referees will let the other team take some liberties with him. When you weigh 230, Dominik Hasek weighs 160 pounds down at the other end.
Ron Wilson says Kolzig's the toughest player on his team. Although Tenorti would likely be a close second. Or would that be Chris Simon?
Yes, you're going to tell Chris Simon that.
Simon's out there now. Speaking of toughness, Berube and Hunter are with him. Buchner back in his zone. Up the boards, and there's Hunter. Tied up by Cruz. Berube knocked down, penalty coming up. As Buchner upended Craig Berube, who pushes it loose. Simon a shot. And now Buchner plays it. And Buchner will dispute the call being made by Don Koharski.
Sunday, June 14th. The dance sensation that's still electrifying audiences everywhere. Catch the Riverdance wave. Then, experience Canada's own Celtic sensation. Vibrant, hip, confident. Leahy. 9 brothers and sisters perform with dazzling virtuosity. Great music, great dance. June 14th on CBC. He was one of the thousands of Canadian soldiers who stormed the beaches of Normandy.
I thought if he lasted 6 months, it'd be a miracle.
You could tell me what to do, and if I didn't like it, I did it my way.
Charlie Martin remembers the day that marked the beginning of the end of World War II.
I look at the men in my boat. I realize that some of us will soon be dead.
We were young and foolish, but we were invincible.
A personal look at D-Day. Battle Diary, a day in the life of Charlie Martin, Monday, June 15th. The sounds of summer on CBC Sports.
Bob Buchner's off for cross-checking. Craig Berube hit him from behind. Here comes Buchner with the 2 hands on the stick. Little tap from behind, and off he goes.
Caps' third power play of the night. Juneau got it to Bellows right on. Ryan Bellows. And 3 shots at Hasek in the first period, and a good opportunity there to open the scoring.
And Dominik Hasek is talking to Don Koharski because Brian Bellows was digging for a rebound. Nice pass from Joey Juneau to Bellows. He has to pull it to his forehand. Hasek's right there. And there's Brian Bellows digging for it. And that's why Dominik Hasek was talking to Don Koharski.
Brian's mother and sisters here from St. Catharines tonight. Brother lives in Windsor, and he's hoping for a Washington-Detroit Stanley Cup final, so he can attend to Joe Louis. Bellows on it again. Juneau trying to center. Bellows behind the net. Knocked away by Mike Wilson. Now Housley. Oates. Adam Oates watched by Ward. Got it to Juneau. Over to Gonchar. Now Housley. Faked the shot. Oates. Juneau and everything on the outside here. Gonchar took a slide from Pekka. Can't get it through. Knocked down by Ward. Gonchar again. Over to Juneau. Faked the shot. Moves in. Housley. That's off a skate into the corner. And Wilson to the line. Kept in by Housley. Here's a centering pass. Knocked down by Hasek. And he'll cover.
Well, that's one of the few areas that Dominik Hasek usually is not very good at, is intercepting passes through the crease. But this one, he picks off. Buffalo Sabres have had a number of opportunities to get the puck out. There was Mike Wilson, couldn't get it out. Now watch Hasek get the stick out. Good play by the goaltender, and he's usually not very good. He's great at coming across to make the save. And the Washington Capitals getting a little too fancy. Here's Joey Juneau on the wrong wing. Let it go. Instead, he makes the drop pass, and then the Caps end up with no shot.
It's a problem earlier for Washington. Bondra will test Hasek, but early in the series they were hesitant to shoot. And that is the 15th shot on the Dominator tonight.
Well, that was a good job by the Buffalo Sabres, clearing the shooting area. Look at Peter Bondra, and there's nobody in that shooting lane. Hasek sees it all the way, controls the rebound.
Now Johansson from the faceoff. 50 seconds left in the penalty to Bob Buchner. Johansson. Bondra. There's Nikolishyn. Zednik's in front of the net. Nikolishyn hangs on and now fired it to a vacant point and all the way down the ice. Half minute to go as Tikkanen retreats to pick up the puck. Tikkanen shooting it in, and Bondra after it there. Tied up by Schmelik. It'll come back to Tikkanen. As to Tikkanen shooting wide. Johansson to Bondra. Now Zednik has it. The rookie Zednik putting it behind the net, and Hasek sweeps it around. Flat after it. It'll be Zednik trying to backhand it out, and he does, as Buchner returns to the ice. Icing waved off. 10:15 left in the second period, still scoreless in Game 6 as they pile up along the boards to get a face-off.
On today's rough roads, if you ever need to stop quickly, consider replacing your worn shock absorbers. It can be like getting an extra 3 meters of road when you need it most. Replace your worn shocks with new Monroe Sensitrack, now with SafeTech. Unlike worn shocks, Sensitrack helps hold your tire to the road. Tests show you can stop an average of 3 meters sooner, and that can make a big difference. Monroe Sensitrack, making the road a safer place.
We've hit the 10-minute mark of the second period here in Buffalo. Capitals trying to finish off this Eastern Conference Championship Series and claim their first ever Stanley Cup playoff berth. But the Sabres still very much alive. Barnaby whips a shot wide. Chased after the rebound, tied up by Gonchar. Woolley at the point. Over to Buchner. Eagles was up on him, so he played it behind the net. Here's Primo. Now out with Barnaby and Groshek. Woolley pinching in, but it's knocked by Woolley. Kelly Miller ahead. Groshek getting back to take the puck away from Eagles.
Double shift for Dale Hunter as he was out there with Mike Eagles and Kelly Miller.
Now lead pass for Audette. He throws it across. There's Sanderson on the far side at the net. Wilson steps up, fires it right on, and Kolzig stops it with 8:59 to go in the second period.
Just like an old friend you can count on and trust. It's like smoking on the sunshine, right over the rust. Treat it to trim clad, give it some TSC.
More people paint and protect more things with TrimClad than with all other rust paints combined. Look for special 33% bonus aerosol and 20% bonus brush on in gloss white and gloss black.
Across Canada, Chevy dealers are rocking the nation. Now with no security deposit on all smart leases. Get low 1.9% purchase or lease financing on all 1500 series full-size pickups. 1.9% financing on the Chevy Blazer and the Chevy Venture. Or you can drive away in the Astro. Chevy trucks are built to last, except in the showroom. So hurry in and see how your Chevy dealer is rocking the nation.
Closed captioning of tonight's game is sponsored by Chevrolet. Tried, tested, and true.
Jason Woolley and Lindy Ruff from their Florida days as the Panthers were en route to the finals, but Jason didn't play as much on that team and not a focal point like he is on this Sabre team.
Buffalo approaching 180 minutes or 3 full games without a goal from a forward. And here goes Washington to the attack. Bellows ripping that shot wide on the 2-on-1 with Oates. Now Daryl Shannon picks it up. Shannon over the line for the Sabres. Flipping it ahead and now taking a return pass. Shot off target in behind the net and Tenorti there. Played ahead for Oates, another 2-on-1. Oates and Bellows. And this time it's Oates shooting wide. Boy, back-to-back 2-on-1s.
And it looks like the forward's trying to get too fine again with Dominic Hasek. The intimidation factor, trying to pick the corners.
Here's Bellows with a shot off the blocker of Hasek. So the Oates line getting its chances here. 3 chances on 1 shift. And Dixon Ward back in his own zone. Out to center, knocked down by Gonchar. Zednik's in now. Here's Bondra in deep, and the centering pass broken up and cleared by Shannon. It might have been the sloppiest shift for the Sabres in this game. Nicolishin pushing it ahead, Bondra on it. He can't get by Schmilling. Verana gives it up. Nicolishin on it again. Bondra in behind the net. There's Zednik trying to twist away in front. Nicolishin sprawls back to Housley. Suddenly Buffalo on its heels. Kept in by Housley, now knocked away by Verana. And Nicolishin at center. Backhands it into the zone again. Here's Ward trying to come off the boards. Nicolishin gets it back for Washington. And now Buffalo goes to the attack. Ward over the line with Pekka. Dixon Ward for Pekka. Scores!
Now here's the turnover at the blue line by Andre Nicolishin. And it's a good play by Mike Pekka, tips it up to Dixon Ward, and the defense has to back in. Phil Housley is back And it's the quick shot by Pekka. Don't stop it. Don't let Ole, the goalie, get set. And that's why it went in. Pekka does not stop this puck. It's all one motion. And Ole, the goalie, never has a chance to get his feet ready. And in it goes.
The 29th shot on Kolzig tonight is the first to beat him. Mike Pekka's first of the series. And Buffalo with an early lead, but they get it right back. Esa Tikkanen with the tip. And 22 seconds later,
Kelly Miller makes a nice play along the boards. Jason Woolley is coming back. Mark Tenorti spots Esa Tikkanen, and this isn't a shot, this is a hard pass. And you can see Esa Tikkanen in behind Woolley, tipping it on his backhand. And the key to this is Tikkanen does not try and get it on his forehand, he just shoves it on his backhand. A beautiful play by Esa Tikkanen, and you can see Jason Woolley. He's a little frustrated because Tikkanen snuck in behind him, able to tip it by Dominik Hasek.
And that silences everybody. 22 seconds after Pekka from Ward and Barada, Tikkanen scores the goal, his first of the series. And now a penalty being assessed by Don Koharski.
To Alexei Zhitnik, I think, and the Washington Capitals will go on the power play. It is Zhitnik headed to the Buffalo penalty box.
Well, Buffalo throughout the first two rounds, John, was effective in answering goals quickly, but tonight it's Washington returning the favor.
Mike Pekka snapping it through Olaf Kolzig, and then at the other end, the guy who wants to be like Mark Messier going to the net. A great play by Mark Tenorti. Look at this. Hard pass that all Tikkanen has to do is get his stick on it, and that's all he does. He sneaks in behind Woolley, gets his stick on it, and in it goes.
Third by Pekka in the playoffs, third by Tikkanen in the playoffs. And now the Caps, after tying the game, go on the power play. 6:06 to go in the second period. Kelly Miller also gets an assist. Here the Sabres, short-handed Shannon, firing it in on Kolzig. And he will cover. The official on the goal, Tikkanen from Tenorti and Miller, at 13:26.
And there was Olaf Kolzig looking down at his blocker, and again it's those big arm pads. He missed it with his blocker and it gets lost in those big arm pads. Esa Tikkanen going to the net well and not even thinking of trying to play that puck on his forehand, just shoveling it in on the backhand. And Mike Pekka, the snapper, on a good pass from Dixon Ward.
30 seconds gone in the penalty to Zhitnik. Here's Gonchar out to center. Flips it in, and Hasek chopped at it. Gave it to Juneau. There's Oates sending it across. Oh, what a stop there. Post to post. Hasek robbing Bellows again.
And Dominik Hasek knew where that pass was going. Adam Oates very rarely shoots the puck. Slid it across, and Hasek was already on his way over. Joey Juneau to Oates. Now Oates could shoot, but you see Hasek is pushing off his left foot already, and he gets over there before Bellows. Hasek looks, and as soon as Bellows gets the puck on the pass from Oates, Oates rarely shoots the puck. And as a goaltender, you can guess, and that's what Hasek did. Guess pass, and he was right there.
Capitals have generated 9 scoring chances tonight, 7 by the Oates line. Now a minute 10 remaining in the power play. Nikolic, Bondra, and Zednik out there, and a quick shot there from Bondra, stopped by Hasek.
And again, Chris, right along the ice, that shot from Bondra, and Dominik Hasek taking away the bottom of the net.
Housley winding up. Left side it goes. Nikolic trying to go wide. Centered by Zednik. And taken away from Bondra. Back the other way. Dixon Ward will flip it into Washington territory. 5 minutes to go in the second period. A 1-1 tie on goals 22 seconds apart. Zednik in. Knocked off the puck. And Derek Plant will take over, and he's got good speed. And away goes Plant with Holzinger. Plant, and that shot ricocheted by Holzinger as he was dashing in. Nikolishyn the other way, 15 seconds left in the power play, and it's knocked away from him by Shannon. Shitnik getting set to return. Andra shoots it in. Bugner gets it over, and Shannon out to center. There's Barnaby. Shitnik back on the ice. So is Tikkanen, the goal scorer for Washington. Bugner back, ahead for Groshek, who left it. Primo turns. Pass didn't get across as Miller knocked it away. Under 4 minutes to go in the second period. And here's Kelly Miller with a loose puck, firing it in. Miller after it again. Barnaby swings it rink wide, and it's out to center. Bellows back on the ice with Juneau and Oates. They've been dangerous tonight. Here's Juneau. Oates, the shot knocked down in front. A nice block there, and Buffalo's headed back. Barnaby looking it in, and Groshek will pick up the pursuit of the puck. Michael Groshek in the corner. Oates couldn't get it by him. Barnaby took it away. And now Matthew Barnaby along the end boards. Pekka back the other way. Shitnik moves up. Bellows tried to get it by him. Buffalo still on the forecheck. Here's Pekka, side of the net. Groshek looking for it. And finally the Caps up with it. And Bellows out to center. Under 3 to go in the second period.
30 shots already by the Buffalo Sabres on Olaf Kols. They've only beat him once. But the Washington Capitals, after scoring that quick return goal, they picked up the play, and especially the Oates line is dominating almost every shifter out there.
Shots 14-10 in the second in favor of Buffalo. Zednik to Nikolishyn, rolling it wide. Bondra's on it. Schmelik locks onto him. Now in deep for Zednik. Pekka watching Zednik. Schmelik plays it around, and pass to Norty, and here's Barada, hauled down, penalty coming up, and Tenorti with a look of disgust as he heads off to the penalty box.
The hardship, the bravery, the victory. Over the next several weeks, CBC presents a retrospective of Canada's role in the World Wars. Critically acclaimed films and documentaries chronicle the courage and commitment of the men and women who fought for our country. Remembering Canada at War, a CBC special presentation.
She's about to wake up a sleepy little town.
That's a code red.
With a sporting proposition.
What's soccer anyway?
All right, you midgets, you better win or you're walking home.
The Wonderful World of Disney, Sunday on CBC.
Sabres set to go back on the power play. Here's Dick Hunter, made the 3.5-hour drive from Petroli to watch his boy Dale play tonight. You got to be surprised that he was talking about retirement at the end of last season with the way he's going in these playoffs.
Well, he's got a... It helps now when you get in the playoffs, and the Stanley Cup is only the next series away. It gives you that extra jump.
All right, Dick, good to see you. Thanks for your time.
Okay, no problem.
All right, and Chris, Dale's got a chance to do what his brothers Mark and Dave have done now, and that's win the Stanley Cup. Back to you.
That's right, and Ron Wilson saying the other day that even at 37, Dale seems to play his best hockey when Dick is in the building. And I think Dick Hunter is a chartered member of the John Garrett fan club.
Yes, Dick and I became very good friends after my stay in Quebec.
Woolley fires it in. Under 2 minutes to go in the second period. Buffalo on the power play. Here's a shot knocked down. Nice play by Eagles. Blocking the shot and sending it the length of the ice. Sabres 0 for 5 on the night. 16 consecutive power plays killed by Washington. The best penalty killing team in the NHL during the regular season. Woolley keeps it in. Now Juneau on it, and this time fires it past Woolley down the ice.
And Chris, that includes a two-man advantage for 54 seconds, and now the fans are starting to get on this Sabre power play.
Shitnik. Nice pass through. Here's a shot wide as Holzinger took it. Gonchar around the boards, and Holzinger can't reach it. Final minute of the second period, 40 seconds left. And Mark Tenorti's second minor of the period. Shannon make the shot, lugged it in, and Groshek, who thought the shoot-in was going to take place, was in ahead of the play.
Last 8 games, the Caps penalty killing is 39 of 41. And there is a good example why they stand up well at the blue line, they get to the pucks on the shoot-ins, and they use 3 separate units up front to kill the penalties, and they're also a threat to score shorthanded. When you have Peter Bondra out there, along with Andre Nicolishin as your penalty killers, the defense has to stay back.
Bondra, 18 shorthanded goals in his career. Schmelik back as the second period winds down. Pekka fires it in. Barada after it, tied up by Nicolishin. Bouncing puck, and Shannon tied up by Bondra. Now, here's a pass for Pekka. Like Pekka across for Ward, behind him, Barada to the point for Schmelik. He tees it up, right on, rebound knocked away. Kolzig wasn't sure where it was. Tenorti back on the ice, a dozen seconds left in this second period. Schmelik has to wait for Barada to get onside, now flips it into the seats. 4.1 seconds remaining.
And again, one of those power plays in the last 2 minutes where the ice is not very good. The Sabres finally get the puck back to the point, get a shot to go through, and almost created a goal out of it. Olaf Kolzig had no idea where the puck was.
Well, the first goal has been so important to these two teams. Washington 9-1 when scoring first, Buffalo 8-1. But the Sabres did not get much time to enjoy their lead tonight. Pekka scoring at 13:04. And then 22 seconds later, Esa Tikkanen responding in a hurry. Shots on goal, 15-10 in the second period, 31-20. Through 2, it's 1-1 after 40.
Pedal Power, driving for World Cup honors on the West Coast. World Cup cycling from Victoria, Saturday at 3:30.
Back in Buffalo in 30 seconds, here's the best of Ole the goalie's 30 saves. Gets him with the Kolzig, gets him with the Kolzig. 1-1 after 2, the third is coming up at Marine Midland on Molson Hockey Night in Canada.
Guess what's coming to CBC this summer? Movies. Romance movies, action movies, sci-fi movies, funny movies, dramas and thrillers, mysteries, coming of age, crying movies, and sighing movies. Movies that'll move you. Movies that'll make you laugh. And boy meets girl movies. This summer, when it comes to movies, you'll find them on CBC. The hardship. The bravery. The victory. Over the next several weeks, CBC presents a retrospective of Canada's role in the World Wars. Critically acclaimed films and documentaries chronicle the courage and commitment of the men and women who fought for our country. Remembering Canada at War, a CBC special presentation. Sunday, June 14th. The dance sensation that's still electrifying audiences everywhere. Catch the Riverdance wave. Then experience Canada's own Celtic sensation. Vibrant, hip, confidence. Leahy. 9 brothers and sisters perform with dazzling virtuosity. Great music, great dance. June 14th on CBC.
A 6-part series remembers.
It was a good war for Canada because it made us a great nation.
I've decided that it is now time for me to go on active service.
For those who fought.
There was nothing ordinary about any of us.
Only 4 of the 22 of us from my class would survive.
I was on the beach, fully exposed to enemy fire. We are surrounded.
For those who died.
I care now more than ever about my country.
Remembering Canada at war. No price too high. Sunday on CBC. On the beaches of northern France. August 19th, 1942.
This is not some dinner invitation.
Canada's darkest day of World War II.
I'll take anything as long as it gets us into action before the Americans. Yeah.
A CBC television event.
A lot of kids I trained are going to die.
Remembering Canada at War. Dieppe Part 2 concludes Sunday night at 8.
Crunch time at the Marina, 3rd period underway, a 1-1 tie in Game 6. The Sabres trying to extend the series, the Caps looking for a berth in the Stanley Cup final. The Rubies out there with Simon and Hunter to start things off in the 3rd for Washington. Here's Bob Buchner pushing it ahead. Primo at center stopped. And it's now Oates on the ice with Brian Bellows. Here's Bellows trying to get loose. 6 shots already in the hockey game for 23 of Washington. Played down the ice by Primo. And Ricky back to get it. Of the 31 shots for Buffalo, 16 have come off the sticks of defensemen tonight. There's Mike Wilson up against Oates. Now Shannon pushed off the puck by Bellows. Groshek back to help out. It's sent to the line, but kept in by Gonchar. Now Shannon back to get it. Plays it around Riki at the line, and now it's out. Barnaby sends it ahead, and Holzinger gives chase. Ryan Holzinger jostling with Juneau behind the net. Juneau gets it ahead, and there is Bondra. Peter Bondra down the ice. Drops it for Oates. Back to Bondra. Knocked away by Zhitman. Given up though, and Oates is on it again. Bondra turns and shoots. Right on Hasek. Kept in at the line by Tenorti, who set up the capital goal. Hasek's out of the net. Oates still out there. Can't get off the ice. And he now has Zednik and Bondra's line mates. Now Oates is off. And Pekka's away for Buffalo. Mike Pekka, the Sabre goal scorer, lost control of it, and now Bondra pushing it back into the Sabre zone. Zednik forward-checking, Pekka off the boards, kept in by Riki. Now it's played out. Pass behind Barada, sliding down into the capital zone and icing the call against Buffalo.
There was 3 times in the first 2 minutes and 16 seconds where the Buffalo Sabres had complete control of the puck and did not get it out of their own zone. And especially when Peter Bondra and Adam Oates are on the ice together. Lindy Ruff talked about the turnovers and how his team pressing, trying to make passes coming out of their own zone instead of just getting it out. And the Washington Capitals, having blown 3-1 leads before, they've never been this deep into the playoffs, blowing a 3-1 lead, and they never had Olaf Kolzig in net when they blew the leads.
But with that man, the Sabres have a chance to come from behind 3-1 again. Hey, Washington has been airtight on the road during these playoffs. They've completed 23 periods away from the MCI Center, and they've allowed only 12 goals. Yeah, that's a big reason why Washington is 6-1 on the road in these playoffs.
You think of Dominik Hasek and what he could do, and look at the streaks he's had. 13 shutouts this year and that .932 save percentage, and 3 games at a time. Once 175 minutes. And that has to scare anybody that ends up playing the Buffalo Sabres, whether it is Detroit or Dallas, or still the Washington Capitals.
No chance for him tonight. On the goal by Tikkanen. Just 22 seconds after the Sabres were celebrating. Here's Mike Eagles on the ice now with Kelly Miller and Tikkanen. An unlikely line for the Caps to have created the goal. With all the chances by Bellows and the threat to Peter Bondra, you wouldn't expect Tikkanen, Eagles, and Miller to produce the Capitals' only score. Puck played into the Buffalo zone. And Shannon pushes it out quickly. Rob Ray's on the ice, racing in against Riki. Gonchar now takes over. And the momentum lines are out again. Here's Berube, a hero in the last game played at the Marina. Penalty coming up against the Sabres. And so 3:27 into the third. The Washington Capitals have a power play.
Some political parties would have you believe that they're balancing the budget. And maybe they are. On the other hand, the Molson Canadian Rocks Party is bringing hundreds of Canadians from across the country to party headquarters in Ottawa for a massive-scale Canada Day bash. On July 1st, join the party. Must be legal drinking age, no purchase necessary.
Mood for love simply because you're near me.
The all-new Accord Coupe from Honda. What'll it do to you?
Chris, you called them the momentum lines. Rob Ray is out there, and you can't take a hack at Sergei Gonchar like he did right in front of Don Koharski and expect to get away with it.
Right from the face-off, the puck out of play at the Buffalo bench. Gonchar still looking for his first point of this series.
Here's earlier in the game, Mike Eagles on Donald Adet. Good solid hit.
There's Gonchar. Juno, Oates in the slot, knocked off his stick, and fired down by Schmelik. Big opportunity for the Capitals to take control. Gonchar. Now Housley. He'll fire it around, and it comes to Juno. Joey Juno tied up along the board. Schmelik there. He sends the puck around. Ward and Housley. Now Bellows is on it. Jitnik looking for it for the Sabres, and Buffalo gets it out. 40 seconds gone in Rays minor. Washington's third power play of the night. Oates over the line. Now Bellows in the corner. Plays it back for Juno and Housley. Juno lost control of it, and Plant has it. Up for Holzinger. And again, these speedy Buffalo forwards can counter quickly. Holzinger threw it across. Plant couldn't reach it. Now Juno back. Up ahead for Bondra. Nicolishin off the bench. He took a hit from Wilson. And the Sabres clear it again.
And there again, the Sabres doing a good job along the boards. After the Capitals shoot in, it's the Sabres who are getting to the puck.
And Buffalo's penalty killing over 90% in these playoffs, so they've been outstanding throughout. Shannon knocked it out to center. Nicolishin will bring it back in. There's Bondra, and he couldn't control the pass. Otherwise, it was a 2-on-1 for the Caps.
Sergei Gonchar, his production has slowed down, but the Buffalo Sabres have paid particular attention to him, more so than the other teams. And on the power play, he hasn't been able to cash in. And you talked about the Buffalo penalty killing, and that's where he got most of his points in the first two rounds, was on the power play. His ice time hasn't changed at all, but the Sabres have done a better job.
That's why they gave him the day off yesterday. Here's a shot right into the logo of Hasek off the stick of Tenorti.
There was Peter Bondra waving at that one again, and you remember back in Washington after it looked like Dominic would never get scored on, same type of play where Bondra tipped it up and over Dominik Hasek, and he was in the crease. He was very close to the crease on that one, but missed the puck.
Another face-off won by the Caps. Under 10 seconds left in the power play as Hasek sends it around. And the Sabres get it to the line and out. Pekka rolling it out as Ray returns. So nothing doing on the Caps power play that time. Now Barnaby, he lost it, and Zednik over the line, shot it into the corner, ricochets to Nicolishin, tried to send it across, bouncing puck. Ricky knocked it back in, delayed offside, but brought out by Jitnik. Roshek check at the Washington line. Barnaby and Nicolishin were tied up. Go! Nicolishin comes away with it. There's Zednik. Former Portland winner Hawk taken to the boards. Bondra fired it wide. Ricky moves up, took a hit from Barnaby. Sabres up with it. Barnaby. Long pass on the left wing. Roshek over the line, and his shot blocked by Johansson. Following up is big Wayne Primo. There's Wilson. He's moved up. Barnaby on his off wing to help Wilson, but the Capitals are away with the puck. Esa Tikkanen, the goal scorer for Washington, sending it in deep. There's Kelly Miller after it, but Wilson will come away with it. Lost it to Eagles, and Shannon did a nice job of following up. Sanderson had it hop over his stick. It would have been offside had he touched it, but play continues, and we've hit the 7-minute mark of the third period. It is 1-1, and the Sabres without a shot here so far in the third. And an icing call against Buffalo.
Sunday, June 14th. The dance sensation that's still electrifying audiences everywhere. Catch the Riverdance wave. Then, experience Canada's own Celtic sensation. Vibrant, hip, confident. Leahy. 9 brothers and sisters perform with dazzling virtuosity. Great music, great dance. June 14th on CBC. The hardship. The bravery. The victory. Over the next several weeks, CBC presents a retrospective of Canada's role in the World Wars. Critically acclaimed films and documentaries chronicle the courage and commitment of the men and women who fought for our country. Remembering Canada at War, a CBC special presentation.
Well, here's 3 former Buffalo Sabres that know where to find the best chicken wings in Buffalo. Now on the Capitals blue line.
You think of Phil Housley, and highly touted under Scotty Bowman, 6th pick overall, and a real offensive defenseman throughout his career.
The boy Joe Rickey's been a war horse, hasn't he? Here's Housley taking the shot. Hasek doesn't know where it is. Simon with the backhand. Hunter now chopping at it. Oh, that one almost got loose for Housley in front, but the Sabres survive it. Now Primo back the other way. Here's a backhand just going wide by Cruz. Primo picks up the loose puck. Back to Buchner. Buchner shooting. Rebound in front. Scores! It's in the net!
Chris, I think Paul Cruz is going to get credit for this goal. Bob Buchner is getting the high fives, but I think it goes off Paul Cruz. Now the Washington Capitals get trapped. Again, their defense is up, and it's Craig Berube who is back. He's not a defenseman. Look at him backing in. And the Buffalo Sabres take advantage. And now Berube is in behind the net. The coverage in front. Brendan Witt has Paul Cruz. Here comes Buchner's shot. Kolzig stops and look at Cruz spin around. And I think it's off Cruz's skate in behind Kolzig. And there's the Buffalo Sabres bench reaction. And the momentum line for the Buffalo Sabres has truly changed the momentum. That's their first shot on goal here in the third period.
Still waiting the official. Paul Cruz scored once in a Buffalo uniform during the regular season. And this is his first game in the playoffs. And at 7:40 of the third period, the Sabres have regained the lead. And will the lead last longer than it did in the second period? They are giving Cruz credit. Primo and Buchner get the assists. On a strange one that got by Kolzig. Now Juneau tried to fire it across. Oates sprawling as he sends it into the far corner, and Shannon wisely gets rid of it the length of the ice. Icing the call against Buffalo. And again, Cruz from Primo and Buchner. 7:40, the go-ahead goal.
And you're playing your first playoff game, and you have to control yourself. Paul Cruz driving to the net. Bob Buchner does a good job. Look at this puck at his feet. But he backs up, slides it along the ice, and here's Paul Cruz. It's off his skate and just trickles by Olaf Kolzig. Look at that effort by Cruz. He's being piled under, and he still makes it to the net and spins his feet around, and in it goes.
Well, back in the '94 playoffs, Paul Cruz was a Calgary Flame and scored 4 times for the Flames in 7 playoff games, but he's not known for that part of his game. Tenorti put it in front, and it's sent away by Puckett. A race for it, Verrata after it, and Johansson beat him to the puck. Ward in, took it away from Johansson. Here's Ward dancing in front, shoots, rebound, Verrata, and Kolzig. Rob Verrata. Oh, a big stop there to keep the Capitals within a goal.
And Olaf Kolzig keeps it close. Dixon Ward's allowed to go out wide. And that creates a great scoring chance. Look where Kolzig is. Makes the original save, the second save, and then the third save as Verrata couldn't get it up and over the goaltender's arm. And Chris, here's the old rebound. You have to raise it because the goalie in desperation is going to take away the bottom of the ice. And there he is in desperation with the arm out, taking away the bottom of the ice.
You heard Scotty Bowman in the second intermission talk about how important an insurance goal would have been last night. Big chance there for the Sabres to own a 2-goal lead, but Kolzig robbed him.
Mike Eagles and Bob Buchner were having words.
Well, the Cup dreams in Buffalo are still very much alive. A 2-1 lead in Game 6 with 10:50 to go in the third period. Gonchar slowly out of his own zone. Spots Tikkanen. Hasek stops it up for Buchner. And the fans serenading Ole Kolzig. Here's Audette flipping it to the net. Kolzig will stop it and get a whistle.
Joe Ricci there protecting his goaltender. There was some speculation Jeff Sanderson would be one of the scratches tonight, but instead it was Miroslav Shatan, as Lindy Ruff wanted to keep Sanderson's speed and his outside speed against this Washington defense. And look at guys like Mark Tenorti and Joe Ricci. And there's Paul Cruz, part of the trading done by Darcy Reguer. And before Darcy Reguer, as we go back to Daryl Shannon and people like that, the Sabres have done a good job and kept their payroll down.
Adam Oates back on the ice with Bellows and Juneau. And they have threatened throughout this game. Juneau throws it at the net. Hasek down! A big stop there! Off the mask is Hasek now without a stick. Juneau to the attack again. Threw it in front, and it's picked up by Grosek. Out comes Buffalo. Barnaby over the line. Here's Matthew Barnaby knocked off his stick by Johansson. And Juneau over to Tenorti. Under 10 minutes to go. Schmelik knocked it away from Bellows at the line. And now Holzinger winds up. He drops it off. Grosek moving in. Quick shot! And Kolzig will smother it. And the Marina is jumping.
All week, your men gave you 100%. Make that 110. So tonight, you're taking them for a well-deserved night out. There's only one problem.
You don't have the Dodge Ram Quad Cab. It's got 4 doors, a choice of 4 powerful engines, and plenty of room for up to 6 people.
That better be your wrench, Henderson.
Oh, the building's rocking with 9:33 to go in the third period. All Cruz, Primo, and Buchner the assists, and the Sabres have the lead. Peter Bondra whips it rink wide over the head of Zednik down the ice. And Schmelik back to get it. There's Dixon Ward. Couldn't get it out. Gonchar in front, and a deflection off the bar. Bondra tipped that one over Hasek and off the crossbar. And an icing call against the Sabres so they can catch their breath.
And Peter Bondra deflects this one back against Dominik Hasek, and when you're a 50-goal scorer every year, you make contact, and Bondra did. But again, the Sabres, you're ahead by a goal off the glass and out. Use the glass. And instead, here it comes. Just a little soft around. Now it's not off the glass. Sergei Gonchar's right there. The little soft backhand, the wrist shot. And look at Peter Bondra. He's all by himself. Tips it through his legs. And he's just unfortunate that that doesn't go in. Watch Bondra. Tips it back through his legs, jumps out of the way, and solid off the post, right straight back out.
And Gonchar was looking for Bondra all the way and nearly creates the tying goal. 9 minutes left. Shot in on Hasek again, and he plays that neatly off the end boards.
Chris, there's another soft around by the Buffalo Sabres. Get the puck off the glass and get it out.
Driving for World Cup honors on the West Coast. World Cup cycling from Victoria. Saturday at 3:30.
Canadians are participating in a sale between Iran and the world on the way to any military attack on Iran. Do we justify killing people?
Sunday Report. Sunday night on CBC. Get behind the scenes of the phenomenon called river dance.
None of us had ever been involved in anything like that before.
It puts Ireland on the map. Knock 'em dead!
River Dance, a journey. Monday night at 9 on CBC.
There's the mayor of Buffalo, Anthony Masiello, anxious as well as the rest of this sellout crowd, hoping the Sabres can hang on here and take it back to Washington for a 7th game. Chopped in by Tenorti, and it's offside.
Tricia, we're talking about those 4 goals by Paul Cruz for the Calgary Flames, and I think that hurt his career because the next year when he came back to camp, he thought he was a goal scorer again. And instead of being a grinding, great forechecker that he got into the league, He thought he was a goal scorer, and he came back and he demanded to be on the first and second lines, and he wanted to be out in the power play, and it took him a while to get back to playing the kind of game where he's most effective.
Native of Merritt, BC, is a hero in waiting right now. Now Jeff Sanderson speeding in. Here's Sanderson from a bad angle. Moving up, Shannon took a hit from Hunter. Played to the side of the net, and Johansson knocks it away. Shannon keeps it in for Buffalo. Calle Johansson gives it to Tinordi. Esa Tikkanen on the move at center. Off his stick, sliding down the ice. And Sanderson back ahead of Hunter. Kelly Miller looking for a loose puck. Mike Wilson on the veteran Miller out in front. Gonchar. Shot blocked by Derek Plant. Now Tikkanen with it at the line. Gets it in deep. Dale Hunter on the ice. Different combination for Ron Wilson. Back to the point. Ricky shooting. And that deflects wide. Pressure by this line. And Tikkanen or Hunter taken down. Penalty coming up. Well, they created some havoc. And they forced Buffalo into taking a penalty.
And a good job by this makeup line of Hunter, Tikkanen, and Kelly Miller. Good pressure, and that was a mismatch in strength. Dale Hunter and Jeff Sanderson, and Hunter plays much stronger and is much stronger. And there's the foot from behind on Dale Hunter, and Jeff Sanderson goes off for triple. Now here's Dale Hunter, and there's Jeff Sanderson coming in, kicking the feet out from under Dale Hunter. Down he goes, and the penalty called by Don Koharski.
Fourth chance for Ron Wilson's power play tonight. As they look for the tying goal. Face-off won by the Sabres. Boy, they've been much better in that department tonight. Now Housley. Hasek stops it behind the net. He'll try to clear it. Pass Gonchar will bounce out. And Pekka sends it the rest of the way.
You shoot it in on the power play, you have to make sure the goaltender cannot handle it. And there was one, Dominik Hasek, out easily, stopping it and making the play. That's a much better shooting off the glass.
Juno after it, it came loose. And here goes Holzinger. Housley caught, flat-footed, and hauls him down. Play will continue. And now back the other way goes Holtz. Over the line. Boy, Holzinger was almost home free there, and Housley recovered. Now Housley knocks down on deck. Or Plant's on the lip. The fans are really on Koharski. A couple of back-to-back Housley hits. Now the Sabres working ahead. Michael Pekka just flips it in. And Don Koharski's ears are ringing with 44 seconds left in the Washington power play. Here goes Bondra. Drops for Johansson. Wide of the net. Nicolishin. In it goes Tinordi, moved up. He lost his footing. Gets it to Nicolishin. All wrapped up by Jitnik. Johansson. In behind the net, Hasek. There's Nicolishin throwing across to score! Peter Bondra on a brilliant pass. Cross ice from Nicolishin. Washington has tied it on a power play goal.
You talked about the pass, but how about Peter Bondra, left-hand shot, being able to handle this hard pass? You think they'd pay a little more attention, but look at how hard that pass is. And look at Bondra, get in position, just to bang it. And perfect timing by Peter Bondra. Bondra will get into position. And here it comes. And here's Bondra with the stick on the ice, gets it hard, up and over Dominik Hasek. And had that been low, I think Hasek might have had it. And Bondra's talking about the slash he took earlier.
Peter Bondra with his sixth goal, third on the power play. That is now 22 goals for Bondra against Buffalo in 31 games.
And you can see Hasek's right leg come over, low across the ice, and Bondra got it up into the top half of the net, and Hasek had no chance.
So a power play goal, and for the second time tonight, the Capitals have answered back after Buffalo has led, and the fans in an uproar here as George McPhee anxiously looks on. Phil Housley involved in a couple of plays that just about everybody but for McPhee and Sean Simpson thought should have been penalized.
Here's Brian Holzinger splitting the defense, and Phil Housley gets the hook on Holzinger. Holzinger embellished a little bit, but Todd Koharski could have made the call on that one. Didn't, and that's why the fans are so upset. Two goaltenders have played, probably in overtime right now. Icing the call against Washington. And there was a mistake by the Washington Capitals, half a foot from the red line. They shoot it in and draw the icing call. And it's amazing to watch a guy like Peter Bondurant. He has the tip-in try that hits the post, picks it about 10 inches out of the air, in it goes, off the post and out, and then the hard pass. It skips once, and he bangs it, and in it goes. Dale Hunter on this face-off against Holzinger. Caps up with it. Tenorti ahead to Miller. And this was the line that caused the commotion on their last shift, reducing the penalty against Buffalo. As Ron Wilson has shortened the bench a bit. Here's Groshek, ahead for Barnaby. Matthew Barnaby fired it, and that deflected high and into the seats. And now they're discussing where the faceoff will be. You know, so much was made about the icing call that wasn't, that produced the winning goal in the overtime game, and you can bet if Washington wins tonight, they'll be talking all summer in Buffalo about the penalties Don Koharski didn't call before Peter Bondra's equalizer. Well, Lindy Ruff was so upset he lost his footing on the bench and went down. .5:15 left. Adam Oates on this face-off, but Buffalo has it. Shannon moving up. Whipped it back to the other point off Wilson's skate, and now out to center. Oates and Juneau. And Juneau's pass ends up on a Sabre stick. Darryl Shannon moves up and flips it into Washington territory. Derek Plant now with Cruz and Audette, so Paul Cruz getting some extra time after his goal. As Lindy Ruff, too, shortens the bench. Away goes the speedy Plant. Over the line, and Johansson won't let him by. Cruz moves up, gets a piece of Riki, but Riki had chopped it out to center. Now it's ahead for Cruz over the line again. Looking for Audette on the right wing. He and Johansson go to the boards. And Oates. Big hit by Cruz on Oates. And Paul Cruz sends it in deep. Cruz has made an impact in his first game of the playoffs. 4:04 to go. 2-2 the score. Twice Buffalo has led. And twice the Caps have answered back. That shot in from Buffalo's side of center. And an icing call. 3:50 to play in the third.
The ultimate GMC truck sale continues with 1.9% purchase or lease financing and no security deposit on all smart leases, like on the 1500 series Sierra regular cab and extended cab. Get great deals on GMC Safari and even 1.9% on the Pontiac Transport and GMC Jimmy. Hurry in for the ultimate GMC truck sale of the year, only at Pontiac Buick GMC dealers.
In my Brooks, each step takes me closer to who I am. In my Brooks, the answer is in the silence, not the noise. In my Brooks, the trees are my family, the forest my home. And in my Brooks, an adoring public watches me sign the first big buck hiker contract.
Brooks for the everyday athlete.
George McPhee and alongside Sean Simpson, the director of scouting for the Washington Caps. And it's not many days until the draft comes up. All the scouts around making up their minds on juniors and the expansion draft and everything else that happens with the draft.
We watched George in the third period the other night agonize, hoping the Caps could close it out in Washington. He's anxiously awaiting a decision here tonight. Here's a chance for Zednik, and Hasek makes the save on the rookie. Zednik hasn't been as prominent tonight, but he's a dangerous guy that Buffalo has to be wary of. Just like 12, Bondra in front, and Zednik buried there by Zednik as this line goes to work again.
And that was one of the things that the Buffalo Sabres have felt Alexei Zednik could have been stronger in this series, could have been a physical presence. Well, there he was, a physical presence. And Dominik Hasek, again, they try and go high, and it just catches the blocker-sized padding around his elbow and stays out.
The size 60 jersey didn't hurt there either. 3.5 to go. And it's played out to center. Dixon Ward gloved it down, sends it across, and Riki breaks it up. Now Nicolishin back. Bondra swooping in again. Murata off the board, kept in by Riki. Here's Peter Bondra trying to center it. Stopped by Hasek. Now Zednik picks it up. He's nailed by Schmelik. And Zednik away with it for the Sabres. Alexei Zednik. This pass. Ward stopped up at the line, and Nicolishin pokes it loose. Here's Zednik firing it right on. Loose puck rebound, and Bondra skated by it with Shannon. Now away goes Holzinger again. Boy, can he fly. And Holzinger the weak backhand. Hasek on it. Back to Holzinger. Shannon at the point. There's Barnaby. 7 goals in the playoffs for Matthew Barnaby. Tikkanen for the Caps. Sends it the length of the ice. And Shannon will get there ahead of Dale Hunter. 2:14 to go.
There's Esa Tikkanen standing in the corner, and when he wanted to get the puck out of the zone, what does he do? High off the glass. And this is seamless glass here in Buffalo. It's an easy play. You're under pressure, what do? Fire it high off the glass. No defenseman, not even Yui Krupa is going to get that one. Down it goes, and the Caps are able to make a change. Look at Dixon Ward on the bench. He did a good play to set up the Sabres' first goal, scored by Mike Pekka.
And the tension mounts. The Oates line back out. There's Gonchar moving up. Gives it to Bellows. Shoots it in. Oates was tied up by Holzinger. And Holzinger in a defensive role. Remember, he's replacing Curtis Brown on the line watching Oates. Bellows behind the net. Trying to center, does Gonchar. Lobbed by Hasek again. Again, a low shot. But that was a tough save. Now over the line, Groshek and the post. Michael Groshek, who has been silent for the most part in this series, almost had the winner there. Barnaby will play it back in and head to the bench. Bellows works to get it into the Sabres zone. And we're down to 1:15 left in the third period. Next goal wins. Tenorti. Pass Zednik.
Last minute of play in regulation time.
Nicolishin in a real battle there. Bondra flips it up. And Zednik is nailed by Schmelik. And Zednik's been hurt. Richard Zednik hit hard by Schmelik and slow to get to his feet.
And once again, Stan Wong comes out. Olaf Kolzig hasn't had much to do, and that shot by Groshek caught him going one way, and the shot back the other way off the post. Now here's the hit. Schmelik on Zednik, and you can see it's a hip check from Schmelik. Gets Zednik up in the air. Here we'll get a little better look at it. Is it a knee? It's more of a stick. He lifted the stick up on Zednik, had him up in the air. And Zednik looks like he's going to be okay.
Caps have outshot Buffalo nearly 2-1 in this third period, 13-7. And if you're looking ahead to overtime, Washington has won a pair of overtime games in this series and have won 4 in a row in extra time. Becca unable to get loose, and Tikkanen out there now, replacing Zednik, going around Schmelik. Here's Tikkanen throwing it across, glove down by Nikolic, Bondra backhand, and they're calling it a glove pass. And Don Koharski whistling play down with 26.5 seconds left and a face-off outside the Buffalo line.
Here's the puck up in the air. Does anybody touches? Nikolic touches it, but if it hits a Sabre, then it's all right. Peter Bondra touched it before any of the Sabres touched it, and that's why it was a hand pass. As Don Koharski ruled that Nikolic was directing it, not just knocking it down.
Becca and Tikkanen exchange goals in the second period. Cruz and Bondra here in the third. And it looks like we're headed to a fourth period, although Wilson dangerously in front of his net. Now it's passed rink wide. Final 10 seconds. Verano looks across. There's Wilson and Ward over the line. Pass knocked down by Juneau. And we are headed to overtime for the third time in this series.
The Buffalo Sabres looked like they had it locked up a couple of times. Got the early lead, and right away they got scored on, but with the 2-1 lead, they made some mistakes in their own zone, did not play very well, got back to the giveaway game, took a penalty, an unnecessary penalty, and bang, in it goes, and we're going to overtime.
31 saves for Hasek through 60 minutes, 36 saves for Kolzig. The Sabres season on the line here, and Lindy Ruff wants an explanation for the no calls by Koharski just before Bondra's tying goal on the power play.
And Bo saying he was even. He was beside him on the hook, the Phil Housley hook on Ryan Holzinger, and you could see Don Koharski explaining that he thought Housley was beside him and didn't hook him from behind.
Let's join Scott Oak.
Game for you tonight. You had the Sabres temporarily in the lead. First game of the playoffs, though. Were you expecting to play such a significant role?
No, I didn't know what I was going to have tonight, but you know, I was worried about the pace, if I could keep up. I haven't played 2 months, and I feel great out there. I'm having fun, and I'm contributing, which is a bonus, I think.
All right, tell me about the goal.
Well, I had a couple good chances tonight, and I just couldn't get it in, and I'm not sure how this one went in, but I just went to the net as somehow it went in off me.
Apparently off your skate. Did you feel that?
No, I didn't even feel it.
Your line was being counted on tonight. Lindy Ruff said for it to crash and bang and really try and contain the Washington Capitals. What do you think of the job you've done?
I think you know, it's been a try to stay out of the box game right now for us. You know, both lines we've been in the box all night. So earlier in the game, you know, we're just trying to get any hits we can and try to get a forecheck going and try to bang one in.
All right, Paul. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
There is Paul Cruz of the Buffalo Sabres. We're tied at 2 through regulation time, and overtime beckons in Game 6 of the East Conference Final on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. ability to fight back tonight.
Yeah, really proud of the way that our club has persevered tonight. We're a little bit sluggish there, and in the first period we took some penalties which kind of put us behind the 8 ball, but we kept battling back from 1-goal deficits, and we've earned to be in this position to have an opportunity to win the series here in overtime.
Yeah, twice you've won an OT here in this building. What's the philosophy now?
Well, obviously you want to get as many shots as you can to the net. You can't score if you don't shoot, and try and keep the puck deep and make them work 200 feet to gain their ice, and again to establish some forecheck, but to put as many pucks as we can on the net and crash the net, look for rebounds.
Thank you, Tim.
My pleasure, Scott.
There's Tim Army, assistant coach of the Washington Capitals, headed onto the ice here to watch his team play in OT. Chris and John.
Well, Scott, high-stakes stuff now for the Capitals. Their chance to go to the Stanley Cup final for the first time, and Buffalo needs the goal to maintain their opportunity. They talked about Buffalo being uptight in the last game. How must they feel now?
I don't think they'll be as uptight now. I think they have to come out and play like they did in the first period. They outchanced Washington 8-3 in the first period. They dominated. They have to get back to the way they played in the first period.
We could be here for a while with Dominik Hasek and Ole Kolzig in net. What a night it's been. Buffalo's had 2 leads, but the Capitals have come back twice. We're headed to overtime right after this.
This portion of Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC is brought to you by Extra Sugar-Free Gum. The teams are working overtime, and so is Extra, the gum with the taste that never quits.
Hey, here's big news. Know how you love the great flavor of Extra Sugar-Free Gum? Now the flavor lasts longer than ever. So you can enjoy even more of life's little extras, like extra mileage, extra innings, even extra credit. And the flavor will last right through. In fact, Extra's flavor now lasts so long, it may even attract some extra attention. So take any extra steps you need to try new Extra. Why? Now the flavor lasts longer than ever. The taste never quits.
Getting set for overtime here. When you think about potential game-winning prospects, Peter Bondra tied the game. We've seen him score once in overtime in this series, and he had 5 shots for Ron Wilson in the third period, and his line mate Richard Zednik has 3, so 8 of the 13 shots by Washington in the third from those 2.
And Esa Tikkanen scored some big playoff goals in his career. You think back to his Edmonton days, eliminating Calgary.
Rob Ray just circled down into the Washington zone before this faceoff. I don't know whether he had anything to say to Kolzig or not, but we're underway now, and again, the big lines are out, the physical guys. Hunter, Berube, and Simon against Cruz, Ray, and Primo. And it's sent into the Washington zone. Next shot, past the goaltender, forces either a 7th game or gets a team into the Stanley Cup final. Hunter's after it, looking for his first final appearance. Chris Simon whips a shot high over Hasek. Ray unable to catch up with it at center. Flipped back in by Berube. Caps will change it up. And here goes Woolley. Up ahead, and Ray gets it in deep and gives Buffalo a chance to change. Sergei Gonchar up for Bellows. Rink-wide judo broken up by Shannon and into the Washington bench.
And a good solid shift by both the momentum lines, as you like to refer to them. Chris, Tim Hunter throws the puck to a fan. Well, they got a good mix in their coaching. Ron Wilson knew Tim Hunter from his Vancouver days. Tim Harvey from his Providence days.
Oates line up against Holzinger's line now as Gonchar fires it in. Strange hop in front. Bellows stopped by Hasek. Oh, they get a chance there on a funny bounce off the glass. And Brian Bellows can't buy one. He's had plenty of chances. And of course, he fired the Caps into round 2 with the overtime goal in Boston. Rolled into the Cap zone. Gonchar right back out again. And here's Bellows. This is his 7th shot of the night. And now Groshek's away. Groshek over the line into Kolzig, and he'll cover and get his stick up on Groshek, who made his way through the crease.
And long after the whistle had gone, and that's why Olaf Kolzig was so upset. Now here's Michael Groshek taking the long shot, and now the whistle is gone. And here's Groshek now after Joe Ricci tries to hold him up, and Kolzig gets his hand up, and there's not going to be any call. Chris, there's only one place in this building where you get a bad hop off the glass, and that's where the Zamboni comes out. And that's what happened on the Brian Bellows chance, the shoot in at the Zamboni area, and Bellows almost cashed in.
Pekka digging in on this face-off. Comes back to the line. Schmelik in behind the net. There's the captain trying to center. Ward took a whack at it in front. Look for Zednik, and he'll push it down the ice. Zednik back. He's logged the most time tonight for the Sabres. Hansen puts it back in behind the Buffalo net. Here's Zednik, pounded by Bondra. Ahead for Pekka, and Michael Pekka at center. Having trouble against Zednik, now gets it in deep, and Ward will forecheck. Gets a piece of Tenorti. Now Verana steps into Tenorti. Along the board, Zednik whistles it down the ice. And this will be icing against Washington. But a little tempo set by Ward and Verana on the last forecheck.
And Mark Tenorti, who is one of the workhorses of the Washington Capitals, taking his body, tiring him out. And should there be a Game 7, we want to make sure that Tenorti is as tired as he possibly can be.
Sanderson, Groshek, Pekka have scored in overtime for Buffalo in these playoffs. Bellows, Juneau, Krieger, and Bondra for Washington. And Krieger and Bondra, of course, in this series. There's Jeff Sanderson. He had the game winner against Montreal in the opener of that second round series. Gonchar has it. In behind Miller, the length of the ice, right on Hasek. Bugner plays it around. Donald Audette ahead to Plant with some room. Derek Plant whips the shot wide. Rebound, Woolley! Oh! Kolzig came across, and Rob Woolley. That's Jason Woolley's 7th shot on goal, and it was nearly a game winner. Oh, he's been an all-Canadian the last couple of nights for Buffalo. Woolley flips it in, gloved by Johansson. Here's Sanderson, and he can't get loose against Oates. Bellows back, cross ice pass, Oates, Juneau, and a great block there by Shannon. Now Bellows turns, fires, and that's blocked. Woolley got a piece of that. Pressure on, loose puck, Juneau again, still loose, Hasek. Oh, did you see that? Down in the Desperado save.
And there was another chance with Dominik Hasek flat on his stomach, making snow angels, and the Washington Capitals just could not get the puck up and over his arms. And there is Matthew Barnaby having words with Adam Oates.
John, I mentioned at the outset just 5 points from the Oates line in the series, but they've had a ton of chances on Hasek tonight.
Well, here's Dominik Hasek, and he goes down, can't find it, trying to poke at it with his glove. Now it's free. Now look at Hasek. He's got his back to the play. And with his blocker hand, again, he reaches out to make the save. Now Derek Plant tees this up. Watch Olaf Kolzig. He doesn't wait. As soon as it hits the boards, look at him come across. And out goes the right leg to make the save. He did hesitate longer than I thought, but once he realized he was in trouble, up he got and across.
That was labeled. A couple of block shots on that last shift for the Sabres, and they have 20 blocks in the game now. So Hasek's had some help. Now away goes Buffalo. Over the line, Groshek! Oh, he whistled that one wide. Groshek from the slot. So both teams have had chances. A couple of good ones at either end. Barnaby Sednick stole it from Barnaby. Here's Nicolishin. Bondra was loose, and it's offside at the line. And Peter Bondra had a little room on right wing.
And Andre Nicolishin spotted him, and that's why he panicked at the blue line. As Wilson and Shannon were both on the same side of the ice. Now here's Bondra, and watch the defense. Both of them were over on the same side. Nicolishin panics and puts himself offside. And George McPhee and Sean Simpson they saw the chance coming, and Andre Nicolishin just mishandled the puck, put himself offside.
Well, Nicolishin with that brilliant pass to Bondra to force overtime. Has 11 assists in the playoffs and 7 points in this series. There's Nicolishin again, putting it in behind Hasek. Verrata chopping at it, and the sandwich out to center. Here's Pekka into Verrata, and Kolzig with the stop. Verrata sent in. And John, with these two goaltenders, we might break curfew tonight.
Not the way they're playing defensively. 2-on-1 breakaways.
Gonchar over Pekka's head and down the ice. Schmelik will touch it. It's been a busy 4:46 of overtime.
4 great scoring chances already. Václav Verrata is in by himself. He gets to his backhand, and he got in too close to Olaf Kolzig. Just a great pass by Mike Pekka. Now Verrata goes to his backhand, and he's in so close he cannot pull it to his forehand, and he's got no choice other than to try and drive it right through the goaltender. And it's pretty tough to do against Olaf Kolzig.
77 shots in the game, and we have 40 chances, and yet it's 2-2. Godzilla and the Dominator. Dale Hunter on this face-off, clean win against Audette. And the Caps bounce it down the ice. Whitmer back, we'll do another face-off in the Washington zone.
And the Caps, when they're in trouble, they don't care. They're winning face-offs again. After the first period, the Caps again have started to dominate in the face-off circle, and we saw Dale Hunter win the last one cleanly.
Looking down those benches for a hero tonight. The youngster Primo, the veteran Hunter, and Primo won it. Woolley moving up, putting it in front. Audette kicked out. And Tenorti starts back, pushing it ahead for Tikkanen. They combined on the first goal. Tikkanen off a skate wide. Hunter looking for it. He's nailed behind the net, and it's out to center. Gonchar over to Riki. Off the boards and in. Buchner there. +8 in these playoffs. Now it's Oates, and an offside called. 5.5 minutes gone in the overtime.
Ron Wilson looks on. His team was offside because they were making a line change, and the player going into the box was on the wrong side of the blue line. Tense time for Ron Wilson and the Washington Capitals. You don't want to get into that 7th game, that one-game scenario, which resembles the Olympics, Chris, and you're facing Dominik Hasek in a one-game showdown.
Yeah, he let it slip today, talking about the series. He admitted Hasek is capable of winning 3 in a row. And that is the task Buffalo faced with to win the series. They have 1 in the bank. An overtime goal would force the 7th.
It was a good play by Michael Grosek with the broken stick, making sure that he got the whistle along the boards, able to get some new lumber.
Mike Grosek, as good a chance as we've seen in the overtime. He has 3 game winners in these playoffs. Caps control the face-off. Daryl Shannon, boy, he's been a tower of strength for the Sabres, 26 on the year and solid throughout the postseason. Tenorti off the boards and Shannon steps up. Johansson up to Bellows and Shannon got back to break up the pass for Oates. Over the line, Groshek. And Johansson there to the line and out. Shannon in retreat, look out. Knocked off his stick. Juno finds Bellows. Here's Bellows sweeping in. Hasek down. Loose puck, they score. Joey Juno scores the goal. And the Capitals are headed to the Stanley Cup final.
Well, that's the persistence of Brian Bellows. Bellows cut to the front of the net, and he had at least 3 cracks at that puck. And now the Caps go to congratulate Olaf Kolzig, who is as big a part of this as Joey Juno. Bellows cut to the net, had the chance, and made sure that Dominik Hasek was not able to control the rebound. All the chances Bellows has had, unable to score, but he's the one that sets up this overtime winner for Joey Juno.
Well, his family here from St. Catharines, and when Bellows has recorded a point in the playoffs, Ron Wilson's team is 8-0. And the coaches congratulate after a hard-fought, memorable series that ends in 6 games, and Godzilla comes out the best of it in the matchup against the Dominator. Let's join Scott Oak.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Here's Joey Juno, who scored the winner, the goal that sent the Capitals to the Stanley Cup final for the first time in their history. Joey, how's it feel?
Feels awesome, man. I'll be right back to you.
Okay, Joey's got more pressing things right now. He's going to shake hands with the Buffalo Sabres, who gave the Caps a great fight. For now, Chris, back to you.
Scott, the 38th shot on Hasek tonight, the winner. Ole Kolzig, 39 saves, and there are the goaltenders.
And I think Dominik got gypped out of a few because Bellows had 3 cracks at that last one before Joey Juno came in and got the rebound.
The end of an amazing year for Dominik Hasek. Olympic gold and a brilliant Stanley Cup playoff run as well.
And you look at the scoring ability of this Washington Capitals team, and I think that's what really let Buffalo down. And there's Olaf Kolzig and congratulating the Buffalo Sabres.
6:24, Juno from Bellows and Oates. Here's Scott.
Adam, describe the moment.
Well, absolutely fantastic. You know, we played real hard. We were down twice tonight. We came back. Bonsai big goal near the end of the game. And Joey, great goal for Joey. Our linesman snake bit the whole series, and what a great goal.
And don't you think Joey Juno's played as well as he has since his rookie year, and now he delivers you to the Stanley Cup final?
Absolutely. He's played great all playoffs. Absolutely. You know, he's had a lot of injuries. He's come back, and we've been really strong in the playoffs. He's played great.
Thank you, Adam. Let's go over and get Olaf Kolzig. Ole, I guess there's no question who's won this goaltending duel. As I said, Adam Oates, same question to you. Go ahead and describe the moment.
Well, I mean, anytime you win in overtime is a special moment, especially against a goalie like Dominik Hasek. For us to do it 3 times and, you know, to battle back in this game, we're down 1-0, 2-1, and we never gave up. We got a heck of a bunch of character in this dressing room, and the job's not done yet, though. We got 4 more to go.
Yeah, it's been an incredible run for you in these playoffs. Now you're going to the Stanley Cup final. How about that?
Dream come true. The only thing better is to win the thing. So we're going to celebrate this for a couple days and then get back to work on Tuesday.
Ole, do you think you did for your team tonight what Dominik Hasek did in Game 5?
Well, I don't know about that. You know, we got behind twice, and but I gave the guys a chance to win, and just a bunch of character guys to fight back the way we did.
All right, Ole, congratulations. Enjoy the moment.
Thanks.
Chris.
And there's Dale Hunter with the Prince of Wales trophy. Eastern Conference Championship. Dale Hunter, in his 18th year, is going to his first Stanley Cup final. And Ole Kolzig told us before this series that he's getting married after the playoffs and he wants to toast at his wedding out of the Stanley Cup. Fans here with a mixed reaction for the Capitals celebration. Matthew Barnaby stayed out late to salute the Buffalo fans.
And all the over 30 Washington Capitals, and I think their experience really showed through a game tonight. They were badly outplayed in the first period. They got behind twice and just kept battling back.
Well, let's join Scott Oak with the captain.
Chris, thanks very much. Here is the captain, Dale Hunter, 1,345 career regular season games, and finally the payoff. You're going to the Stanley Cup final. Make your statement.
Well, it's unbelievable. You know, it's been 18 years in coming, and sometimes you think you're never going to get there, but it proves if you keep working hard and get the right breaks at the right time, anybody can go.
Now, I said to your father late in the second period, we had a chat with him. How about this? Your guy was thinking of quitting at the end of last season when the Caps missed the playoffs. You talked to David Poyle, and he said, Dale, we want you back for one more year. How good a decision does that seem now?
Oh, it's unbelievable, you know, and to get the chance to go try to win the Cup, it's a thrill. It's a thrill that you always dreamed about as a kid.
All right, so the Hunter quest for another Stanley Cup ring continues. Thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
Chris.
Dale Hunter, an amazing story, and Joey Juneau with his 4th game-winning goal of these playoffs. He started it and finished it after some great work by Brian Bellows.
Bellows goes to the net, 1 crack, 2 cracks, keeps it loose. And that's the key to the goal, just keeping it away from Hasek. And that's why Juneau was able to get that rebound and slide it into the empty net. But what a great job by the Capitals to stay onside. And that was Adam Oates at the blue line making the play to stay onside. Bellows cuts around Daryl Shannon, protects the puck, goes to the net, and has 3 cracks, but keeps the puck loose. Look at Hasek trying to get it, but it's loose because Bellows keeps jabbing away, and in comes Juneau.
You've talked about fate. Brian Bellows on the 93 Montreal Canadiens team with those overtime wins. This is the 5th straight overtime victory by the Washington Capitals.
And general manager George McPhee looking on, sees Bellows go to the net. Yes, he and Sean Simpson are celebrating, as well they should. Tikkanen and Bellows, late additions.
Well, let's hear more from the hero, Joe Juneau.
All right, Chris, a moment ago we tried to talk to Joey and he was preoccupied. He's got a moment now. Joey, biggest goal of your life?
Oh, definitely. You can't beat this. The only way you could beat this, I guess, is to score the goal at the end to win the big trophy.
I know that there was a lot of pressure on you guys tonight because had you lost, all the talk of those 3 collapses, the 3-1 leads in the last 11 years would have resurfaced. Did you react to that, do you think?
Yeah, we have too much character in this locker room now to let these talk, bother us, I would say. And, tonight we just came out and we just made sure that this was not going to happen to this team again.
Overtime goals not often pretty. Quickly describe yours.
Well, we had so many chances, especially I think in the second period we had all these, 2-on-1s and stuff like that, and puck was not going in. We faced the best goalie in the world, so it's not easy. But like this tonight, the rebound just came out, and there was no chance for him to really stop it. The puck just happened to be there, and there was an open net for me.
Congratulations and thank you, Joey.
Thank you.
All right, Joey Juneau has sent the Caps onto the Stanley Cup final. Chris?
50th different team in this decade to qualify for the Stanley Cup final. No team has waited longer. The first time in franchise history in 24 years. The Washington Capitals on the Juneau goal are headed to the Stanley Cup championship.
Guess what's coming to CBC this summer? Movies. Romance movies, action movies, sci-fi movies, funny movies, dramas and thrillers, mysteries, coming of age, crying movies, and sighing movies. Movies that'll move you. Movies that'll make you laugh. And boy meets girl movies. This summer, when it comes to movies, you'll find them on CBC. Experience the energy of Leahy, Canada's Celtic hit sensation. Spectacular step dancing. Electrifying music. Hip and confidence. 9 brothers and sisters performing with dazzling virtuosity. An evening of astounding music and dance. Leahy in concert, June 14th on CBC. Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Brought to you by Molson Canadian.
Really
Only fitting Joe Juneau's the hero tonight. He tried to be in Game 5. He was heroic the other night in the loss. Olaf Kolzig, brilliant. Dominik Hasek, brilliant. What can you say about the Dominator? 13 shutouts this year, the Hart Trophy. The gold medal just wasn't to be against 14 30-somethings, especially 37-year-old Dale Hunter, 34-year-old Phil Housley, who really wanted a taste of a Stanley Cup. Fine, let's get a closing comment from the booth. Here's Chris and John.
Ron, a memorable series. At the outset, Ron Wilson said everybody thinks the winner of this series is going to be a punching bag in the final. There's something about this Capitals team with those vets. You talk about fate. It's a team to watch in the final.
Well, and goaltending. And I think of Dale Hunter in the 18 years he's been in the league. That's the one thing he stressed to me. He said, I've played on some good teams before. We've never had the goaltending. Well, the Washington Capitals have only the goalie.
Not even when you were his goaltender.
No, that's right. Especially when I was his goaltender.
So the Caps await either Dallas or Detroit. Ron?
And their records, Chris and John, against Detroit 0-2. They lost 4-2 and 2-0. And against Dallas this year, Caps lost 2, 4-3, and 2-1 in OT. And you know, just watching this celebration, a lot of people have dedicated their lives to hockey on the Washington Capitals side. The guy that ought to take a bow somewhere in North America tonight is Pat Quinn. Because Ron Wilson learned to coach under Pat when he was his assistant in Vancouver, and George McPhee learned to be a general manager under Pat Quinn when he was in Vancouver. So, Pat, if you're watching tonight on Hockey Night in Canada, we're thinking of you, celebrating for Ron, who obviously did a great job keeping his team cool in all circumstances, and George McPhee, who we saw was pretty fiery up there in the booth. Quite an effort for the Washington Capitals. They got into a hole tonight and found a way to dig themselves out. They're going to the Stanley Cup on Tuesday in either Dallas or Detroit. We still have a piece of the puzzle to solve with respect to the championship. The Stars and the Red Wings. Dallas showed lots of resiliency last night. They'll be on at 7:30 ET tomorrow night. They're the men who made this such a beautiful show. Hasek and Kolzig, the Prince of Wales Trophy to Washington. For all of us, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night from Joe Louis Arena in Detroit.
Battle Diary, a day in the life of Charlie Martin.
Problems finding somebody to play against them. So, you know, it was a tough decision to take Shatan out, but it was you know, it gave us a line that could neutralize, at least not give them any momentum. It wasn't going to be intimidated, and they ended up scoring a goal for us.
Lindy, could you talk a little bit about the value of veteran players and maybe what they brought to Washington in this series?
Well, you know, you can talk a lot about you know, Tikkanen's been a playoff performer for a long time. We knew that. He scored again a big goal again tonight. He scores big goals in big games. You know, he scored a huge goal against Florida team when I was there in Madison Square Garden in an overtime situation that you know, eliminated us. And he's I think he was a key acquisition for them.
All right, so Lindy Ruff and the Sabres go down tonight on the game-winning goal by Joey Juneau at 6:24 in overtime. So the Capitals moving on to their very first Stanley Cup Finals. To baseball now, and when Chan-Ho Park took the mound tonight against the Cardinals, you had to wonder if he checked today's date in sports history. We did, and Park had a lot to live up to. On June 4th, 1964, Sandy Koufax no-hit the Phillies. On June 4th, 1968, Don Drysdale blanked the Pirates for his 6th shutout in a row. Oh, and then on June 4th, 1990, Ramon Martinez struck out 18 and pitched a 3-hitter against the Braves. Good luck, Chan-Ho. This is Mark McGuire missing game number 3 due to back spasms. Top of the second, Tom Lampkin singles to right. Gary Sheffield is going to throw on home, and the throw is not in time. John Mabry scores. Cards up 1-0. Bottom of the 8th now, Curtis King facing Eric Karros with 2 out. Dodgers down 2-1. Karros. And he puts it into right center field. Eric Young come on down. Karros went 1 for 4. We're tied at 2. Same score, bottom of the 9th. 1 out, 1 on for Charles Johnson. He had been in a slump, but gets a single here. Jim Eisenreich on his horse. Jim Eisenreich, he's got a good horse. This game, like the musical group Aha, history. 3-2, your final scores. The Dodgers get the victory. Todd Hollingsworth will have surgery on his left shoulder. He could miss the rest of the season. The Cardinals have lost 5 of their last 6. First place Astros, first place Padres. Craig Biggio not in the starting lineup. He did play. That's 439 in a row. Bottom of the first, Greg Vaughn rocks the Casbah. Gone. 47-48 RBIs. Padres up 2-0. Now top of 7, 1 out. Carlos Hernandez throws to first. Ricky Gutierrez, toast. Very nice. Bottom of the 7th, bases loaded, 1 out, squeeze play. Andy Ashby lays down the bunt. Oh, perfect squeeze bunt. Ruben Rivera scores. The Padres win 5-1. Andy Ashby becoming the first big leaguer to pitch 3 straight complete games this season. He matched his season high with 8 Ks and walked 4 in his 4th complete game of the year. The Padres are now a game up on the idle Giants.
Well, Derek Jeter has not missed a game this season, and he's never spent any time on the disabled list. But earlier today, the Yankees placed their star shortstop on the 15-day DL with a strained abdominal muscle. So Luis Sojo will play short now, replacing Jeter, and the Yanks without Jeter hosting the Devil Rays tonight as Jeter sitting this one out, looking on in the dugout. Bottom of 2nd, runners on 1st and 2nd for the straw man, and Darryl Strawberry pops one to the left, and it should be an easy play for Randy Winn. Oh, wait a minute. It falls in front of him, then it gets by him to make matters worse. Tino Martinez will score, Yanks up 1-0. And then Bernie Williams drives a pitch deep to right, but it is not out of here for the grand slam. Off the wall, 2 runs will score, and the Yanks go up 4-1. Meanwhile, Hideki Irabu looking very good, looking for his 5th win of the season already, gets Paul Sorrento swinging. And then the next batter is Bobby Smith as they're starting to hang some Ks for Irabu, and you might as well hang another one because he gets him swinging. 3 straight strikeouts in the 4th, 6 Ks in the game for Hideki as he lowers his league-leading ERA now to 1.45, and the Yankees have now won 4 straight. The Devil Rays have lost 8 of 11, and Dennis Springer, the American League's first 9-game loser this year. O's in the Red Sox. Mike Piazza and John Franco at the game as the Mets are in town for the series beginning on Friday. Bottom of the 1st, they would see Mo Vaughn single to left. That will score Reggie Jefferson. Vaughn was 3 for 5. It's 1-0 Red Sox. Then B.J. Surhoff grounds to 2nd, but Mike Benjamin makes a sparkling defensive play to get his man. And then bottom of the 2nd, Darren Bragg grounds to 2nd, but Roberto Alomar, usually sure-handed, boots it. That allows Scott Hatterberg to score. Error on Alomar. It's 2-0 Sox. Bottom of 6, Darren Lewis, who drove in 3 runs, goes the short way to Pesky's pole, a 2-run blast. He was 3 for 5, and that would end Sidney Ponson's day as the Red Sox pound out 14 hits, and they get the win. They score 9 runs after their first shutout loss of the year, and Brett Saberhagen makes his longest outing this year. He goes 7 innings and allows just 1 run, and he struck out 3. Rangers and the A's a little earlier today. Top of the 2nd, Juan Gonzalez facing Jimmy Haynes, and Gonzalez lifts this one to left. Ricky Henderson, though, coming on and makes the play. Henderson extends and then loses his cap. Plays like that were one of the reasons Gonzalez was 0 for 4. Here's another one because Haynes gets him swinging right there, and Haynes had 7 strikeouts through 7 1/3 innings. Bottom of 7 now, runners on the corners for the A's, and Rick Helling in a little bit of trouble. And oh my, Helling doesn't even want to look at that one because it's gone. A 3-run blast for Henderson, his 6th of the year. He had 3 RBI to put the A's up 4-1. Top 8. Gonzalez continues to have his problems at the plate, chasing that one way outside. He's now 1 for his last 18. Ricky Henderson, of all people, powered the A's past the Rangers. Jimmy Haynes and Billy Taylor combined on a 5-hitter as Rick Helling now winless in his last 3 starts.
When she won her first of 3 straight French Opens in 1990, Monica Seles was a giddy teenager known for her powerful game and powerful grunt. But on that fateful day in 1993, her life changed forever when she was stabbed by a crazed fan in Germany. It took a while, but Seles was able to move on, something that she's dealing with right now as she mourns the death of her father. Today, Seles, in her most important match since his passing, met Martina Hingis in the French semis. Seles, sideline winner. She breaks and leads 3-2. Later in the first, deja vu all over again. Down the line again. Martina not pleased. Hingis lost the first set 6-3. Second set, Seles up 5-2. She's awaiting serve, and Hingis will get Seles off balance. Charges the net, but Seles, look at the passing shot. Seles wins in straight sets, 6-3 and 6-2. Seles had lost all 5 previous matches against Hingis, including a loss in the semis here last year, but that was then. This is now. Seles reaches the French Open final for the first time since '92. Said Hingis about her opponent, quote, "She is back in better shape and probably better than ever." Well, wherever she is, Monica has a lot to live up to. From 91 to 93, she was on an incredible run in which she won 7 of 8 Grand Slams. This is her first Grand Slam final since the '96 U.S. Open. Her last Big Four title came about the '96 Australian. We're now going to take you back to Buffalo. Ron Wilson, head coach of the Washington Capitals, is speaking. Let's listen in.
I mean, Brian Bell has made a great play, getting outside the defenseman and going to the front of the net and taking a big hit. And it was just laying there, and Joey he went to the net hard. And we talked about that, and then sporadically we did it, where we go to the net. When I'd say that to the team, unfortunately, we had some guys take it upon themselves to run into the goalie, and we took some bad penalties over the series. But Joey went to the net, found the rebound, and just jammed it home. I said to the guys, first of all, no matter what happens, as far as I'm concerned, we've won the game. Because everybody is saying we'll choke again, 3-1. And if it goes to a 7th game, we've played well enough tonight to take something out of it. But what the heck, we're here. We're going into overtime. This is what we live for. This is what you dream about as kids. And then I mentioned what we talked about this morning. Our theme was this is like Apollo 11 landing on the moon. Caps have never been to the finals, so the finals is like landing on the moon. And all these people were supporting us around. Whether it's our parents or coaches along the way, we had a huge support system, and everybody was pulling for us. And not only did we get one chance, Apollo 11 had one, and if they crashed, they were dead. We had 2 chances to land safely on the moon. And going in a 3rd period, so I said, we have to have someone in the room who's Neil Armstrong, and Joey Juneau said, I'll be Neil Armstrong. I'm the only guy in here who probably knows who Neil Armstrong was. And he's aeronautical engineering. Literally, he says, I'm a rocket scientist. That's what he said this morning when we talked about it. So I really, you don't anticipate things like that, that the guy who says he'll score the goal goes out and scores, but that's what Joey did.
How many guys on the team were alive for Apollo 11?
What's that? I don't know. You know, I thought about that this afternoon. What am I talking about Apollo 11 for when, I mean, even Dale Hunter would have been 6 or 7 years old, and he probably doesn't even remember. But you know, I think that's the greatest accomplishment in this century, landing a man safely on the moon and bringing him back. So we're looking for something that we've never done before, and that's get into the finals. And we've been talking about who are you going to, I asked each individual before the game, who are you dedicating this game to? And whether it's your parents, your brother or sister, your kids, your wife, and we went around the whole team, and I had the guys dedicate the game to someone special in their lives so that they would realize that a lot of people out there thinking about them. No, I don't. No, I don't. I mean, emotionally, Detroit, because my dad and my uncle coach there, but it doesn't, they're both great hockey teams, and we're going to have our hands full. It's probably, everybody out there thinks we'll go down 4 straight. The last couple of finals, last 3 or 4 finals, it's been 4 and out for the losing team, and I'm sure not too many people are going to give us much of a chance, but we've gotten there, and now we have a chance.
Can you talk a little bit about the great goaltenders duel we saw in this series, looking back at it? Phenomenal performance.
Well, it didn't, you know, it didn't really come to that until the last 2 games, and Dominic won the game in Washington the other night, and Ole had a huge hand in winning tonight's game, especially in the first period. He made some huge saves, and while up front we were bending a little bit, Ole made it possible that we didn't break. And, you know, they scored a lucky goal on him, that second goal. I mean, they worked hard, but the puck squibbled through his legs. It was kind of lucky, and we didn't get down. We just kept working, and, you know, Peter Bonder came up with a huge goal again, you know, late in the game. And from that point on, I thought we pretty much controlled things. I'm looking at the shot clock, and geez, it's 2-1 halfway through the game, and I thought, this is we're kind of comfortable playing these kind of games where we're struggling a little bit. Ole's into it. He's seeing a lot of pucks, so he's comfortable. I think Dominik Hasek would say the same thing. If he's getting a lot of action, he gets into the game, and Ole is definitely of that variety as a goaltender too. More action, the more he's into it, and he gets sharp. And if he's not seeing the puck a lot, I suppose it's tough to be down there all by yourself and not let your mind wander.
What is it that makes this Caps team the first team in 24 years to get to the
Well, I mean, first of all, no disrespect to the teams that we played, but we had a draw that you dream about before the season. And those 4 teams that made the conference semifinals were the best teams at the end of the season, but we didn't have to face Philadelphia and New Jersey, 2 teams that really, or Pittsburgh, the 3 teams that really have given the Caps trouble over the years psychologically. So we managed to get in against a couple of teams that there's no past history with, so we weren't carrying any baggage around. I think that helped. And in every series, save this one, I thought we had a huge advantage in goal. This one, I thought this could be even, or maybe, Dominic can definitely make a difference. And it's going to be up to some of our role players and other guys to get the job done. We've always, in every series, we've been the veteran team. And, our guys, their answer always was, when they blew these 3-1 leads in the past, the other team always had Mario Lemieux. And there's no Mario Lemieux in the playoffs this year to drag us down with a 3-1 lead. So that sort of, cut the ice, and that's what we always talked about. Unfortunately, Buffalo has Dominic Hasek, and I'll be honest with you, I was awful nervous that if we hadn't have won tonight, that a Game 7, you wipe the slate clean, and it's a single game elimination. And if you're picking a goalie in a situation like that, I think it'd be pretty unanimous around the league. You'd pick Dominic Hasek to be your goalie. And I'm saying that, and I think I have the hottest goalie in hockey right now. But, Dominic is, in the last 2 years, he's the MVP, and you have to respect that. I think it's outstanding, and it's not always what you do on the ice. It's how you're composed in the locker room before games. And I think Hunt's made sure that his line, when he went on the ice, they were always ready. They competed and played hard, and that they, didn't do anything that would cost our team. And they came up with a couple of big goals and set the tone physically in every game. And for us to be successful, our 4th line has to stay out of the box, for one, play under control, and set the tone physically.
The Caps had blown 3-1 series leads in 3 of the last 10 years. Didn't happen this time. They beat the Sabres 3-2. We'll have more tennis news and more baseball after this.
So, what are we going to do today, Matt?
Shave it off, all of it. Just.
Okay.
No, it's just this dandruff. It goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back.
Well, we can take care of that.
Head and Shoulders?
With regular shampoo, flakes can keep coming back. But Head & Shoulders helps prevent flakes before they start. You may never see flakes again.
And your hair looks great.
Glad I didn't do something stupid like shave my head.
Head & Shoulders changes dandruff problems into beautiful hair.
This simple-looking device is the key to unlock your body's hidden potential. Introducing the Bowflex Power Pro. Bowflex uses patented power rod resistance to give you an incredibly smooth, natural feel for over 60 different health club quality exercises. It's time to get the body you want with no money down and payments as low as $33 a month. Call right now for your free video and brochure. Discover the body you've always wanted with the Bowflex Power Pro.
It's do or die for the Stars as they head back to Detroit, where the Red Wings look to close out the series and shoot for their 2nd straight cup. Stars Red Wings tomorrow night at 7:30 on ESPN.
Who would face Monica Seles in the finals of the French Open? It's Lindsay Davenport versus Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. First set, Sanchez Vicario leading 3-2. And grunting keeps her on the run. Sanchez Vicario tries a baseline lob. Davenport has her. Just slam it. She does. But it's out. Sanchez Vicario won the first set 6-3. Second set, we're tied at 5. Vicario, backhand winner. And now up 6-5 in the second set tiebreaker. Davenport serves, gets Sanchez Vicario on the run again. Davenport, chance to put her away, but one of 56 unforced errors for Davenport. Sanchez Vicario moves on to the final to face Monica Seles, 6-3, 7-6, 7-5 in the tiebreaker. Said Davenport, who held serve only twice and made all those errors, quote, "I guess I beat myself."
Back to baseball, White Sox and Royals, no score, bottom of one when Jamie Navarro gets Hal Morris to ground into the inning-ending double play, and then in the bottom of two, Navarro facing Jeff Conine, and Conine grounds to Ray Durham, and we start another inning-ending double play. In the sixth now, 2 on for Jeff Abbott. This will not be a double play. That is gone. A 3-run blast, and his 5th of the year. The White Sox go up 5-0 as Abbott, 3 RBI. He's now hitting .322 on the season. Bottom of 6 now. Offerman, another double play. Navarro got 4 double plays as he tossed a complete game, and the White Sox won their 11th straight at Kauffman Stadium as Navarro also snapped a personal 3-game losing streak. Every Chicago starter hit safely in this game. And elsewhere, Woody Williams won his 4th straight decision despite giving up 6 runs, 5 of them earned in 6 innings, as the Tigers now have lost 5 in a row, and Brian Moeller is 5-0 at home, but he's 0-5 on the road. Stay with us. The news continues in just a moment.
You know, ideas and inventions come from people in all walks of life, and most of the century's top inventions came from individuals, not companies. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? Are you interested in trying to submit your idea to companies for a good faith review and in trying to patent it as well? If so, Invention Submission Corporation has information to help you get started. ISC is America's largest inventor service firm with over 50 offices nationwide. Call this toll-free number now to see how to get this free information. The information includes forms to assure confidentiality, a form to record and date your idea, plus an informative brochure that explains how to submit your idea to companies through ISC's data bank and how to apply for a patent. Even if you only have an idea for improving an existing product, you'll want to call now for ISC's free information.
For your free information, call Invention Submission Corporation at 1-800-773-1166. That's 1-800-773-1166.
$100 billion, or the X Games will be destroyed. Wake up, Lugenstein.
Sorry, baby. Daddy's got to go to work. The name's Stein. Lugenstein.
This summer, Daryl Thompson goes ballistic.
You're too late, Luge boy. The X Games are doomed.
What a way to go.
The X Games, coming June 20th.
God save us.
More baseball for you. Indians and the Twins, 4th inning. Indians down 1-0. That's until Jim Thome unloads an opposite field 3-run blast off of Brad Radke, who had won his last 3 starts. He's not happy. It's 3-1 Tribe. Then bottom of 4, Doc Gooden gets some defensive help. Ron Coomer singles to center. Matt Lawton tries to score from second, but Kenny Lofton with the throw home, and it is in time and on the mark. The Twins had 3 hits in the 4th, but they couldn't score a run. Bottom of 8 now. Jose Mesa protecting a 1-run lead, and with 2 on and 2 out, gets Matt Lawton to ground out to Thome, and that will end the threat. And Dwight Gooden gets his first win with Cleveland. He pitches 6 innings and allows just 1 run. And Brad Radke had won his last 4 starts, but does not get this one. Mike Hargrove's 570th win as the Indians manager. That's the 3rd most wins in team history. And in the top of the 5th, the Angels now lead the Mariners 3-2 as Darren Erstad had a solo home run, but Ken Griffey Jr. struck for the M's. A 2-run jack, his 22nd of the year, but the M's have lost 3 straight games.
Downbacks and Rockies, top of the 5th. John Thompson K's David DeLucci swinging. A perfect game for Thompson through 4 2/3. Next batter, Jay Bell breaks up the perfect game. The no-hitter, the shutout, all in one swing. It's gone. His 8th of the year, 3-1 Rockies. Bottom of the 6th, it's 3-2 Rockies, Arizona, in a world of Bichette. A 2-run homer for Dante Bichette. He went 2 for 3, 3 RBIs, 5-2 Rockies. Top of 7, still 5-2. Thompson cruising. Gets some revenge. K's Jay Bell. Thompson a career high, 11 strikeouts, a 4-hitter as the Rockies win it 5-2. Bichette, 2 runs scored as well as that home run, his 7th of the season. We are ESPN News.
So instead of winning this series, they now go to a pivotal Game 7. Rich?
If you're a person who's really into sports, you'll really be into new ESPN, the magazine.
Don't you want to give us some scores? Are we still on the air?
Issue after issue.
What is going on here? This is weird. Hey.
You'll be involved like no sports magazine ever involved you before.
Hello? Do we have a problem here?
ESPN, the magazine, is big. Bigger in size. Bigger with news, pictures, player profiles, inside information, and amazing access to places you've never been before.
Hey, what's up?
And because we know that you know what happened last week, even last night, ESPN, the magazine, is mostly about what happens next. The matchups, the players and teams to watch, the ins, outs, and insights that are the real reason we really love sports. And the real reason ESPN people like Dan Patrick, Peter Gammons, Chris Mortensen, and many of the best sports writers in America will be talking sports in every issue. So call now for your charter subscription to ESPN, the magazine. You'll get a special deal, 26 issues, a whole year's worth, for just $1 an issue. $1 an issue. That's 66% off the newsstand price. And you'll get this great freebie.
T-shirt.
The first ever limited edition ESPN, the magazine t-shirt. 100% cotton with the world famous ESPN, the magazine bullseye logo right over your heart.
Can I get a witness for this?
Call now for your charter subscription to ESPN, the magazine. At last, you have something to do when you're not watching ESPN.
Call for ESPN, the magazine, and your free t-shirt. 1-800-564-5115.
First round of the LPGA Michelob Light Classic rained out, so the tournament will be reduced to 54 holes. You can see the opening round tomorrow on ESPN2. Weather permitting, it all starts at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. As you can see right here, I do not have any scripts left. They have all the scripts. It's David Lloyd and Mike Greenberg. It's all yours.
He could have them. We're back with more in just a moment.
From the worldwide leader in sports, this is the ESPN News Network.
Yes, it is. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Newsroom. I'm Mike Greenberg. This is David Lloyd.
Hi there. Cavalcade of sports to talk about. A huge upset in the French. The Yankees lose their most indispensable player, and a boxer is pregnant. First, here's Mike to deliver our lead story.
It's got to be a big one to take the fire away from the pregnant boxer.
Sir.
You'd have to forgive Ron Wilson if, frankly, he's just getting sick of Dominic Hasek. The coach of the ill-fated U.S. Olympic hockey team saw his golden dream tarnished in the wake of Hasek's 38-save performance. Now, as coach of the Capitals, he saw the Dominator dominate on Tuesday night, turning away 34 shots, turning away the Capitals in their bid for their first-ever berth in the Stanley Cup Finals. Another chance tonight for Wilson and the Caps as they shuffle off to Buffalo for Game 6, and there's Ole the goalie. We're ready. He would be tested early. First period, Mike Wilson with an opportunity. It slides by Kolzig, but it slides wide. Then it's Matthew Barnaby, another chance. 16 first-period shots for the Sabres, who had that many in the entirety in Game 4. 5 make it. Capitals with a 2-on-1. Peter Bondra to Mike Eagles. No opportunity there. Hasek closed the door. First period ends scoreless. Second period, Sabres, opportunity. Wayne Primo stopped by Kolzig. Paul Krause can't score. Jason Woolley also stopped. You got to get another look at this, David Lloyd. Krause had a terrific shot. It gets past Kolzig, but watch Brendan Witt skate in inside the crease and kick it away before it manages to cross the goal line. That's great defense. Later in the second, Michael Grosek leaves for Michael Pekka. Mike Pekka goes upstairs. Sabres take a 1-0 lead. There was much rejoicing. Capitals respond quickly. 22 seconds later, Esa Tikkanen beating Hasek ties it at 1. That's the way they were into the third. Late in the period, Bondra tries to deflect the puck past Hasek, but he hits a post. Then it hits Hasek in the back, between the legs. Hasek and the Sabres avoiding a scare. Late third, Hasek can't clear. Andrei Nikolishin looking to make him pay for that, and that he does. Peter Bondra, here it comes. Bondra, after Hasek fails to clear the puck, Andrei Nikolishin sets up Bondra, and Bondra pokes one home, ties this game at 2. To the end of the third now. Grosek fires a shot that gets past Kolzig and hits a post. 60 minutes of hockey prove insufficient to settle the issue. To overtime they go. Brian Bellows in. Stop by Hasek, who gives up a rebound, and Joey Juneau ends the series. They're stunned and silent in Buffalo, but the Capitals are rushing the ice. Dominik Hasek is headed home for a long summer. For the first time in the history of the franchise, the Washington Capitals are going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Joey Juneau, the game winner, 6:24 into the extra session. Capitals are headed to the finals, and one of the heroes, Ole the goalie, who's addressing the media right now.
You have to believe that you're going to be here, because if you don't, then it's easy to just be content where you're at as a backup or as a career minor leaguer. So, I mean, there was a lot of hard work to get to this point. 4 or 5 years in the minors, and then 4 years as a backup, and I made sure I took advantage of the situation this year when it was presented to me. And I mean, I never dreamed the season would go the way it's gone so far. The only thing left is to win the Stanley Cup, and it'd make a pretty good Cinderella story.
I think you've proven you're more than just a hot goaltender. A lot of people have told you that during the postseason. Now that you've outperformed someone the level of Dominik Hasek.
Well, I think I've proven it. I never really believed that I was a hot goaltender. I thought I was a confident goaltender, and then that I basically carried over how I played in the regular season into the postseason. And I mean, people are going to call you what they want, and I mean, my teammates believe in me, and I believe in them, and that's really all that matters. And it was more me beating Buffalo Sabres than Dominik Hasek. I mean, obviously it's great to beat a guy of that caliber, but I mean, our goal was to get to the Stanley Cup, and Dominik Hasek was in our way. We had to find a way to get around him.
All right. All right, and if it's hockey you want, it's hockey you shall have. Who will advance to face Ole the goalie and the Washington Capitals in the Stanley Cup Finals? Well, tomorrow night we may find out the answer. Stars and Red Wings with a Detroit win. They're headed back for the third time in 4 years. Tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
The Mets and Dodgers have just pulled the trigger on a 4-player deal. A press conference has been called for midnight Eastern time tonight. Hideo Nomo is involved. It's Hideo Nomo and Brad Klontz going to the Mets in exchange for Dave Malicki and Greg McMichael, 4 right-handed pitchers involved in this one. Of course, Nomo was designated for assignment just a few days ago. He is going.
Great goaltending, as we've seen time and time again. Both guys absolutely wonderful. It was a scramble in front. It wasn't a bad goal. It was a hounding goal by the Washington Capitals.
Joey Juneau, who struggled offensively, had just 9 goals in 56 regular season games, comes up with his 6th of the playoffs, but of the 6, now 4 are game-winning goals. And this one is a series clincher. The Washington Capitals win the Eastern Conference title, and they're going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Coming up on NHL tonight, the Sabres and Caps square off in a critical Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Can Dominik Hasek continue to dominate the Cap shooters, or will Ole the goalie steal the spotlight?
Oh, it was a save by Kolzig.
We'll examine perhaps the biggest reason the Wings are 1 win away from a return to the Cup Finals.
We know that we can go into a game and roll 4 lines, and we know that every game it could be a different line that steps it up.
So just remember, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. All tonight on NHL Tonight.
Hi, everybody. Great to have you with us on NHL Tonight, along with Barry Melrose and Ron Hextall. I'm Bill Pito. We got Game 6 in the East. The Washington Capitals once had a 3-1 series lead over Buffalo, and the phrase 3-1 lead sends shivers up the spines of Washington followers because 3 times in their last 5 tries, the Caps have blown a 3-1 series lead. And they have gone the longest of any current team without a spot in the Stanley Cup Finals, 24 years. Game 6 in Buffalo, the Caps 6-1 on the road so far in the playoffs.
We're just going to go out and play the same way we did the other night, and hopefully we find a few holes on Dom. If not, then we go to Game 7 and try the same thing. But we don't feel any kind of pressure in this dressing room at all.
I never make any promises, but I know I go on the ice and I try to do the best, for Buffalo Sabres. And I just hope, we will play a little bit better than we played the last game. at least we play smarter.
At times, you can be a little bit uptight playing in front of your home building, and you know, we seem to play really well on the road, and for whatever reason, get uptight at home. But we just have to make sure that we stay focused at the job in hand.
You can't go out there and be nervous. You're not going to accomplish what you should. You got to go out there and be relaxed and play your own style.
This game against Washington, Dominik Hasek's 97th game this season, counting 4 preseason games, 72 regular season games, 6 Olympic games, and 15 playoff games. The record book only recognizes regular season and playoff games, and with that as a criteria, Hasek's played in 87 games. A record Grant Fuhr 94 games in 87, 88, and Ron Hextall, you played an awful lot in 86, 87. So here we go. And Ron, there are some guys who try to imitate Dominik Hasek.
I think we all try it once in a while. I think goalie here, he's trying to imitate him. I think he's doing a little mock job on his teammates here. Come on, boys, can you put it over that or not?
First period, no score. Michael Grosek wide open in front, but whiffs. Mike Wilson, his shot didn't get in there. As you take a look at, just trickles just wide. Watch it again. Oh, so close. Joey Juneau now in front to Brian Bellows. Hasek with the save. At the other end, Buffalo's on the power play. Brian Holzinger with a chance stopped by Ole the goalie. Then Ole later on.
He makes a great sprawling save here. He just dove across and hit his gloves there.
Kolzig not done. Another Buffalo power play. Holzinger unable to tip it in, Ron.
Yeah, you see here, it's a great save here. It was going for the low corner there, and he just managed to get his stick over. A little lucky, but it was a great save.
Kolzig 16 saves in the first period, zip after 1. Second period, more chances for Buffalo. Primo rushing in, can't beat Kolzig. Paul Cruz also can't score, Barry.
Well, you get a scramble in front of the net right there, and Cruz, and watch right there, that Brendan Witt's toe comes over and hits him right in the toe of the skate and stays out. Good to be lucky in that situation.
Michael Pekka now, no score. It's now 1-0. His first point, Barry, in 7 games.
Why this goal is scored? Because Kolzig has to go to the middle of the rink with the shooter. Ward throws it backwards and caught him moving side to side.
Just 22 seconds later, Esa Tikkanen, first goal in 15 games. Ron, we're all tied up.
It's a great play by Tenorti here. He spots Tikkanen there and he puts it over. It's a great, absolutely great play by a big physical defenseman.
Still 1-1 late second. Oates to Bellows. Hasek, huge save. 1-1 after 2 periods of play. Third period, still tied at 1. Bob Bubner blasting it in from the point. Mad scramble in front. Cruz, his first game of the entire playoff, scores a goal, Barry. What in the world happened there?
Cruz from Ray and Bugner. I bet you never thought you'd hear those 3 names together. You go to the net, good things happen. Big, strong man hits him in the foot, trickles in, they all count, and that's the biggest goal he's ever scored, I can guarantee you that.
So the Caps down 1. Bondra almost. Then Caps power play. Holzinger hauled down. Key play of the game. No call. They'll remember that one in Buffalo forever. Don Koharski swallowed his whistle. Hasek here as the play goes on. Misplays a puck. Nikolicia to Bondra. 5:59 to go. Ties it at 2. Lindy Ruff beside himself. How could they not call a penalty when Holzinger was taken down? 1:40 left, tied at 2. Grosek hits the post. Koharski had to explain himself to Ruff at the end of regulation. Now in the overtime. Kolzig on Jason Woolley. And he was able to make the save as he got back in time. So then, still in the OT, Bellows, so active throughout these playoffs, stopped, but Joey Juneau wins the game. His 6th goal of the playoffs, 4 of those goals have been game winners, and the Caps polished off the Sabres in 6 games. They'll go to the Cup Finals for the first time in their history. 3-2 is the final. So the Caps now have won 5 consecutive overtimes, all on the road. All on the road. It's Juneau's 2nd OT win of the playoffs. Ole the goalie, 39 saves. Caps overall, 7-1 on the road in the postseason. Bondra, 11 goals now in 18 career games against Hasek. Congrats to Dale Hunter. After 1,508 career games in the regular season and playoffs, finally Barry making his first trip to the finals.
Well, I'm glad to see a guy like that because he's one of my favorite players to see him in the Stanley Cup Finals. It took the Capitals 24 years to get to the finals. It took the Kings 25 years. Penguins 23. When the Penguins got there, they did some damage. The Devils 20. When they got there, they did some damage. Hurricanes and Coyotes have yet to get to the finals. So They deserve to be there. A very good hockey club, and they played a very good series, and it's been a while. Hopefully they don't blow it.
And 3 of the Caps' 4 victories in this series come in overtime. And the key play, Ron, it seemed, with the Caps on the power play, Holzinger taken down. How could there not have been a penalty call there?
I don't know. I really felt like there should have been a call. Holzinger had a lot of speed, and I think it was Housley didn't have much speed, and he dragged him down. He made it look pretty good by not putting his stick right in, but you see the speed Holzinger's got. He gets dragged down. That's got to be a penalty, and they come back on the power play that would have been negated by the penalty. And of course, Nick Alishin gets it over here in the corner, and as the other night, Bonder finds the open space over there. And when he finds it, boy, you're in deep trouble because he knows where to put it. But I thought Buffalo came out and played a real good game. They started out good in the first and second period, and they get beat by a bad break like that.
Barry, you've won in the conference finals before. Take us to what might be going on in that Caps locker room right now.
It's the greatest time of your life. It really is. The only thing greater would be winning the Stanley Cup. It's been a long, hard season. You've worked really hard. You've overcome a lot of obstacles. Things have fallen in place for you. You've got a few calls. You've got a few breaks. I really thought Bill Ranford would be the goalie that would lead this team into the finals. So Ole, the goalie, has been fantastic. He outplayed Hasek in the series. He's outplayed everybody he's faced. It's just a great, great time. Ronnie's been there. You're so close to your teammates. A coach is a different feeling. You're so proud of your team as a coach. The way you played so hard. You've battled so hard. Guys are playing hurt that no one will ever know. A guy like Tenorti, the way he played tonight, it's just a special feeling, and you can't know what it's like unless you've competed, unless you've had to win 90 games and play 90 games and travel all over North America. It's the greatest thing I've ever experienced. As I said, the only thing better would be winning the Stanley Cup.
And speaking of the Stanley Cup, it will begin on Tuesday. We know the Caps are in. Game 1 will be in Dallas or Detroit. Games 2, 3, and 4, and if necessary, 6 will be on ESPN, the original. Coming up on NHL Tonight, much more, including why Darren McCarty is one of many, many reasons why Detroit is so tough to beat, as we continue after this.
One day, science...
Hi, I'm Martin Lapointe with the Detroit Red Wings.
Now here's Lapointe with a chance. He scores from between the circles.
You're watching NHL Tonight with Barry Melrose. By the way, Barry, thanks for bringing me back up when I was 18 years old to win a Calder Cup. It was really appreciated.
At least he's got one fan. Martin Lapointe is one of the reasons why Detroit is so difficult to beat. His 7 goals are second best on the Wings in these playoffs, and Lapointe is not even a frontline star. The Wings come at you from everywhere with 4 quality lines. They have playoff goals from 16 different players.
Character.
Unity.
Commitment.
They are the key components that have helped the Red Wings reach their 4th consecutive conference finals. But if Detroit is going to be the first team since the '92 Pittsburgh Penguins to repeat as Stanley Cup champs, they must rely on their most vital component, their depth.
McCarty scores! Darren McCarty! A big offensive face-off win, Chris Draper. Now Maltby steals it from Matvichuk going in shorthanded. He scores! 2-on-1 down low. Shot Holmstrom scores! Kozlov set him up.
Jammed it off the back end and fell down trying to draw the penalty. Inside, score! Martin Lapointe!
We know that we can go into a game and roll 4 lines, and we know that every game it could be a different line that steps it up.
Well, that's the way it's kind of been all season for us. We haven't had to depend on 1 or 2 guys each night.
The 4 lines we have, I think, is really our biggest asset on our team, and we play everybody, and that makes the biggest difference.
A look down the Wings roster reads like an NHL Who's Who's list. But despite the marquee names, when it comes to winning, the focus is clear.
The team has accepted the fact that they're going to play as a team. And sometimes it's not easy when you have some great individual players, as every team does, but they focus on winning.
Sure, we've got some star guys, but we also have a great supporting cast and some great character guys. We roll 4 lines. We have 4 lines that can play offense or defense and play both well.
Whenever you can have guys contributing on different nights, it definitely makes it a little easier for the big guys to just go out and play their game.
Our 3rd and 4th lines have scored big goals. Holmstrom scores some big goals. Maltby, Kosher has 3 goals. Brown steps in and scores a big goal for us. This just goes on and on.
No matter who's on the ice, we got a chance to either play good defensively or put a puck in the net.
As the Wings continue to chase another cup, perhaps it's only fitting that it's a role player who speaks for his team's only goal.
Once you get a taste of winning a Stanley Cup, you always want to go back and get another one, and that's what we're trying to accomplish here now.
22 different Wings have at least 1 point in these playoffs, including Chris Osgood, who has an assist. Even Mike Knuble has chipped in with 1 assist, and Matthew Danino has 1 assist in 3 games. 16 different Wings, as I mentioned, have recorded goals so far this postseason. Now, Barry, you once coached in the Wings minor league system and minor league development. What's amazing is how many of these players are homegrown.
What's amazing to me and what makes this team special is when you draft a kid at 17 and you keep them as long as Detroit Red Wings keep their guys, they're Detroit Red Wings. They're not hired mercenaries going from team to team to team. As you see with Detroit right here, 11 of their players have come from the farm system. That means they've been in the organization since they've been 18 years old. 10 have come from trades, 4 have come from free agents, 1 have come from the waiver draft. As I said, these guys grow up being Detroit Red Wings. They stay Detroit Red Wings. They're taught the same things from the minute they enter into pro hockey. They're taught the right things. That is why this team is steps ahead of other teams in the NHL. A lot of teams just go out and spend money and bring in the best players they can for dollars. The Detroit Red Wings draft the guys, they stay with them, and make them Detroit Red Wings. They all want to stay there the rest of their careers, and I think that's what sets this team apart from other teams in the NHL.
Brendan Shanahan, Larry Murphy, 2 guys that were acquired via the trade, but just about everybody else up through those minor leagues.
But you do that to fill holes. You don't have those guys that you drafted and in your farm system, so then you go out and spend a little money and bring those guys in as you need them. But the majority of the stars in that team are homegrown.
Now, Ron, is there something that they do as shooters that makes it difficult for the other goalie?
Well, I think just the skill level of their forwards from 1 to 14 or whatever the forwards, I mean, it's just incredible. The way they shoot the puck, the way they control the puck, the way they forecheck, the way the chances they create. Here's a guy like Stevie Yzerman. He's a very deceptive guy. Here he makes a move, he shoots it. You just don't know where this guy's going to put the puck. Fedorov comes down, he shoots in stride, he sort of gets the goalie caught in between like he did. If you're there, you're not really set. Shanahan, he's got a great release. We haven't seen it much this series, but he's going to come through. That's the scary thing about this team. Slava Kozlov, you're going to see a goal here. This is just an absolute skill goal. There's nothing else to it. He practices it, I'm sure, in practice. He one-timed it across his body, which is a real tough skill to learn. Lidstrom, I think his best skill, first of all, he's got a hard shot, but second of all, his shot always gets through the net. You always hear the forwards in the room saying, come on, D, we got to get the shots through, particularly on the power play. He gets his shot through. His shot's hard enough where he's got a chance to score on every shot.
Wings, of course, in Dallas, Game 6 Friday night. We'll discuss that later on NHL tonight, but in the meantime, coming up next, the Caps are going to the Stanley Cup. Esa Tikkanen contributing. We'll analyze how they beat Buffalo when we come back after this. So the Washington Caps are going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Washington over Buffalo, 3-2 in overtime. Joey Juneau scores a game winner, and the Caps win the series 4-2. They've never before been to the Stanley Cup Finals. A lot of their veterans finally getting a chance to play for the title, including Dale Hunter. He's played in 1,508 career games, regular season and the postseason. Finally gets a chance to go to the Stanley Cup. He talked to our Brian Hayward.
It's been a long time coming. I've been into the semis 3 times and never won. So to get the chance to win the Stanley Cup, and it's just an unbelievable feeling.
You know, this is a team that actually went through an awful lot of adversity, so it's got to be awfully satisfying for you guys to come through in the end.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, you got to fight through. We've been fighting through all year, and just that we came together at the right time, and we get a chance to win the big thing.
All right, now what are you going to be doing tomorrow night? Dallas, Detroit. Whoever wins that series is going to be your next opponent. You're going to be watching, obviously, with great interest. Any concerns about who you might be facing?
They're both good clubs. One won the Stanley Cup last year, and one was the first team overall this year. So they're both good clubs, and hopefully it goes 7 games.
But I'm sure you're grateful exactly to get a little extra rest.
Yeah, it is. It's real good.
All right, thanks, Dale.
Okay.
The Caps will take on either Dallas or Detroit in the Stanley Cup. They beat neither during the regular season. Of particular note, perhaps, the Caps struggled on the power play against both teams. Caps Ron riding Ole Kolzig all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. Coming into this postseason, had only gone 3-3 in his playoff career. Are you surprised by how well he's done? Really didn't have a lot of playoff experience coming into these playoffs.
I'm not real surprised because of the maturity of this guy. He's been in the minor leagues for 4 years. I think he's been up 3 years now, and he's been around. You know, you see guys like Patrick Waugh, Ken Dryden, they come in as rookies and they do the job. And this guy, he's a more mature guy. He really is a veteran now. He's only played 6 playoff games before this year, but he is a veteran. He's been around. He's seen what happens. He went through a few disappointments in the playoffs, though. You know, he wasn't the guy until partway through the series. But he's a very capable goaltender, and to me, that's the main thing is he's very capable.
Bear, we've talked about it a lot on the show. Once the Caps get healthy, once they get these guys back, got healthy in the playoffs, had all their guys healthy for the first time in really a couple of years, and look what happened.
And what I like about what they've done, they've got better each round they played. I thought against Boston, that series could have easily went either way. I thought Kolzig stole that series. The next round against Ottawa, they got better and better. Things started clicking. Gonchar was fantastic. Kolzig continued to play very solid. Now against Buffalo, I think they were best they played by far. Solid defensively. Bondra came back. That line was fantastic. So now they got 2 lines scoring. And again, the constant was Kolzig's play, as Ronnie has said. So this team is just going up and up and up the way they're playing. Their confidence is going up and up and up. And they're a hungry team. And now they got a few guys that have won the Stanley Cup, too. Ranford's won a Stanley Cup. Simon's won a Stanley Cup. Tikkanen's won a Stanley Cup. And Bellows has won a Stanley Cup. So those 4 guys will be telling everyone else how to act, what to think, and how to get into the finals. But this team is playing the best hockey they've ever played right now at this time.
And who the Caps will play in the finals remains very much a question. When we come back, we'll find out if the Wings will be able to adjust. How will Chris Osgood react after letting in the game winner from no man's land in Game 5? But first, we have tonight's question, and it is, who were the first set of brothers to win the Stanley Cup together? We'll have the answer for you when we come back. Tonight's question, who were the last set of brothers to win the Stanley Cup together? The answer, Dwayne and Brent Sutterbrudder in 82 and 83 with the Isles. We ask because in 1950, the father of Caps coach Ron Wilson, Johnny, and his brother Larry won the Cup with Detroit. They are one of several sets of brothers to capture the Cup together. Detroit was just 1 minute and 25 seconds away from polishing off Dallas, but Guy Carbonneau scored to force overtime. And then just 46 seconds into the overtime, Chris Osgood once again misplayed a long shot. Steve Yzerman, we're not worried about Chris, but is Chris worried about himself?
That's why I was mad, because I bared down on it, and I wanted to make damn sure I got it into the corner. Because I know the ice, and I know anything near the net, you got to make sure you get a whole piece of it, or you get something, because it's going to bounce back into you, especially in that rink. And that's why when I went out, I was just like, didn't want to do anything violent, but were you frustrated because I did everything I wanted to do. I made damn sure when he was coming down that I had it, and it was just, like I said, I just can't do anything the easy way.
We're shooting from everywhere, but wouldn't call on one of those going in again, that's for sure.
You look back in the St. Louis series, he came back and had 2 terrific games, so you know, that's what makes good teams and good players. They always seem to respond well after a bad game.
When you get that emotional level that's being played at right now, then funny things happen, and we were able to take advantage of some of the funny things Detroit did in the last couple of games.
Since 93-94, when the Stars moved from Minnesota, they've had an awful time in Detroit, going 2-11-2 in the regular season and 0-5 in the playoffs. Stars power play in these 20 games just 10 for 86. Barry, it's interesting to note that Detroit's up 3-2, and they don't have a single goal in this series from Fedorov or Shanahan.
Well, that's a scary thing about this team. Their stars, you can throw Yzerman in there, too. He's only got 3 points in this series. So the 3 best players have basically been shut down offensively, and this team is still up 3-2 against the team that won the President's Trophy. So they do it with depth, they do it with the defense, they do it with great goaltending, do it with a great defensive system, and timely goals by 16 different players. So that is what sets this team apart from everybody else. But the way it is now, I think one of these big guys have to come up and have a pretty good game for Detroit. It's time for one of them to cut loose, a Fedorov or a Shanahan who's struggled so far offensively. I think one of those guys has to have a big game just to give Detroit something they haven't had in the previous 5 games.
Now, Ron, got to ask you about Osgood's problems on these long shots. What's he trying to do? And a lot of times, it's a lot harder than it may seem to stop these downtown efforts, huh?
It is a lot harder. You saw the ice in the Dallas game there. He talked about the ice. The ice is bad. The ice does funny things with the puck. And it's just it's a matter of Osgood just getting by this, forgetting about it, and just moving on to the next game. He's done it before, and he's going to do it again. You see the shot here. It comes, it hits the ice, and it rises up again, and he was going to get it with the blade of his stick, and because it went up, it just hit the toe of his stick, and it goes in the net. It's a tough break, and it's a tough thing to swallow, but he's gonna bounce back from. Here's another one, Blake. I think it might have hit his pad here. It goes in. It's a long season. It's 82 games, and things like this happen. Unfortunately, the timing of the one is of Langenbrunner's is bad, but he's going to bounce back, and he's going to play well tomorrow night.
We had a sneaky suspicion you would come to his defense. Now,
He's
Barry,
a great goalie, man. What can I say?
Barry, you're coaching Osgood. He seemed composed in the interview after the game and in the days since, but would you talk to him if you were Scotty Bowman?
I would talk to him, but it'd only be positive things. Chris Osgood is their goalie. They're not going to make any changes. He's the guy that's going to win the Stanley Cup for him. So Scotty'd go to him and just say, shake it off. That's nothing. We wouldn't be here without you. Maybe put together a tape of him just doing great things, making great saves to get his confidence back up. But this is their goalie. It's no good crying about it. He let in a soft goal. He knows he let in a soft goal. The team has always responded for this guy. They love this kid. The team has responded every time this guy struggled. They want him to succeed. They don't like what he's going through with their press. So I expect Detroit to play a great game in front of this kid next game.
So, Wings Stars, Game 6 Friday night. One more win by Detroit. It is all over. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Friday night on ESPN.
Excuse me, is the seat taken?
With the power of Visa Platinum, you can rent a villa in St. Bart's, while away the long tropical days, sharing Coquille Saint-Jacques with Nastasia Kinski. Of course,
you're fired.
You'd lose your job. You hate Coquille Saint-Jacques, and Nastasia is actually dating a European kickboxer called
Serge.
But with the exceptional purchase power of a Visa Platinum card, isn't it really nice to know you could? Visa Platinum, it's everywhere you want to be.
Hi, I'm Dick Clark, and now everyone can enjoy the freedom of the new ISIS cellular phone from Philips thanks to prepaid cellular.
Introducing prepaid cellular from Worldwide Direct. With prepaid cellular phone cards, there's no monthly bills.
Take the phone just in case.
Thank you.
And no contract, no credit check, and no deposit. Got car trouble?
My car's broken down. Can you come and help?
Help is just a call away. So forget those outrageous phone bills. With prepaid cellular phone cards, buying airtime is easy. Order from home and the phone arrives at your door ready to use. Get the Philips ISIS prepaid cellular phone. A $199 value, now just 3 easy payments of $33. And there's no contract, no credit check, no deposit, and no monthly bills.
So pick up the phone, America. It's for you.
Now, for only 3 payments of $33, you're guaranteed cellular service regardless of your credit history. Call 1-800-538-9223. Pick up the phone, America. It's for you.
Bad call. I know all about bad calls, Mike. Take the 1986 Academy Awards, for example. I was completely snubbed for Stand By Me. I mean, did you or did you not think that train was real?
I thought the train was real.
Exactly. Good acting, that's what that is.
Three stars, number 3, Barry.
Peter Bondra got a huge goal. I'm also giving Oldie Kolzig a star, 3rd star honorable mention, because he should be on the list.
Number 2.
Dominic Hasek, he had 35 saves. He played a great game, but I'm also giving Ole a little bit of mention there, too.
Kolzig had 39 saves. Joey Juneau, number 1 star, 6:24 to the OT. Scores the game winner. Caps win it 3-2. Go to the Cup Finals for the first time in franchise history. We're back on with NHL tonight. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Friday. We'll talk about the Stars and the Wings, Game 6. That'll do it. Thanks for watching. For Barry Melrose and Ron Hextall, I'm Bill Pito. Have a great day. We'll see you on Friday night, everybody.